Chapter 1950. Yang Hongwu looked at Erebus with a mocking expression. This guy thinks that I'm easy to bully because I'm weak. That's a big mistake. If I'm that weak, how could I have fought with the people of Black Evil Town so easily? Erebus was even more furious when he saw Yang Hongwu's mocking expression. This kid is just an early emperor. How dare he be so arrogant and mock me? This is unforgivable. As the young master of Black Evil Town, Erebus had never been looked down upon and mocked like this before. Yang Hongwu was extremely calm. He looked at Erebus and said, "Do you really think that you're invincible with a half-step Tao Lord in Black Evil Town? What a joke. I don't know if I'm invincible or not. But you're dead for sure." Erebus shouted and charged towards Yang Hongwu. He gathered his fist energy and threw a punch at Yang Hongwu. This punch contained all of his strength. His goal was to kill Yang Hongwu in one fell swoop. He could tell that Yang Hongwu was the core of Tai Tulong and the others. So long as he could defeat Yang Hongwu, he would be able to defeat him. As long as he killed this kid, the others would be nothing to worry about. Plus, he could get the supreme treasure on him. Not bad. But it's a pity that it's too weak in your hands. It's like a precious pearl covered in dust. Yang Hongwu sneered and dodged the punch. Then, a terrifying murderous aura erupted from Yang Hongwu's body. He was like the god of death. This terrifying murderous aura had condensed into a physical form. Naturally, he was using the 10-direction killing fist that he was extremely familiar with. Right now, the might of the 10-direction killing fist was extremely frightening. That domineering killing intent instantly shrouded Erebus' body, transforming into terrifying killing sabers. Damn it! Erebus shouted angrily with his eyes wide open. He had never seen such a terrifying murderous aura before. It was unexpected that a mere early emperor could release such overbearing murderous aura. Moreover, Yang Hongwu's strength was extremely terrifying. Moreover, Yang Hongwu's strength had far exceeded his expectations. 10 Directions Killing Fist, Descent of the Killing God. Along with Yang Hongwu's furious roar, a terrifying fist force erupted in an instant. Punch after punch blasted towards Tian. Under such a terrifying fist force, it seemed as though the entire space was about to collapse. That was enough to show the power of the blow. He was so powerful. Seeing this, Erebus had no other choice. This fist technique was way too domineering. He had no way of dodging it at all. Since he couldn't dodge it, he could only face it head-on. Tian roared and punched out with both his fists. The fists of both sides collided. Yang Hongwu's killing fist of 10 directions contained a frightening amount of killing intent. On the other hand, the fist skill that Erebus cultivated contained a malevolent aura. When the malevolent aura was condensed, it was extremely domineering. However, what happened next left Erebus dumbfounded. The person who collided with him suddenly disappeared. He couldn't believe that the person he was fighting with was just an illusion. If it was just an illusion, then what was with the terrifying killing intent just now? After all, the killing intent had transformed into battle sabers that attacked his body. In the next moment, before he could react, he felt a terrifying sense of danger behind him. However, it was already too late for him to react. There was no way to avoid it. Yang Hongwu's fist had already landed on his back in an instant. With a crack, Erebus was instantly sent flying. There was a bloody hole on his back. This punch was too domineering. Moreover, the damage of this punch was far more than that. Yang Hongwu's punch didn't just condense killing intent. It also incorporated the hellfire and the power of fortune. Yang Hongwu naturally guessed that there was a reason why this guy was targeting him and obstructing him. No one would target someone for no reason. Moreover, it was a powerful person. This was extremely unwise for any faction. It was rational. After all, Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyu were both late-stage sovereigns. They were well aware of this fact. Provoking such a powerful enemy wouldn't do them any good. However, Erebus just had to do so. Even if Black Demon Town was extremely powerful, it wasn't worth it. Therefore, Yang Hongwu could almost guess Erebus's motive. He must be after the treasures on him. Could it be that this guy has a fragment of the Life Great Seal? No, that's not very likely. If that's the case, I'll definitely be able to sense it. In that case, there was only one possibility. Although Erebus didn't have a fragment of the Life Great Seal, he could sense that I have a supreme treasure of fortune on me. The reason he attacked me like this was because he wanted to get the supreme treasure on me. Because of this, Yang Hongwu didn't show any mercy. Even if he knew that Erebus was powerful and had a half-step Tao Lord, he still wanted to fight. Moreover, he wanted to kill him from the start. After injuring Erebus, Yang Hongwu didn't stop attacking. He wanted to follow up with another attack. Erebus, you're dead meat. A cold light shot out from Yang Hongwu's eyes. In an instant, a terrifying furnace appeared. It was the devouring furnace. Not only that, but the blazing flames also sealed off Erebus's escape route. Erebus's expression changed drastically. He was all too familiar with the power of the flames. It was a part of the power that was raging wildly in his body. Karmic fire. Damn it. It's the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. He couldn't do anything. At this moment, he was already regretting it. However, regret was meaningless. Kid, that's enough. If you stop now, I can let you go, said Erebus. He knew that he couldn't win now. He was far from being a match for Yang Hongwu. Although Yang Hongwu was a realm lower than him, he couldn't defeat him. You want me to stop? Yang Hongwu laughed. You must be dreaming. Do you think I'm a fool? In this situation, you're meat on my chopping board. If I want to kill you, it'll be as easy as flipping my hand. Moreover, if I let you go now, will you let it go? No. If you stop now, I swear that I won't attack you again. Don't you want to enter the Black Fiend Abyss? I can even give you a treasure that can resist the fiendish aura so that you can be safe in the Black Fiend Abyss. You can move freely in the Black Fiend Abyss. Erebus quickly shook his head and explained. Chapter 1951. That's good stuff. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. This was indeed a good item. Although it wasn't of much use to him, it would be very helpful to others. Especially to Tai Tulong and the others, if they could have such a thing. If Tai Tulong and Tai Tulong had such a treasure, they would be able to maximize their strength. Yang Hongwu paused for a moment before continuing, but I don't care about it. It's just ominous qi. It can't stop me. As he spoke, Yang Hongwu's aura exploded once more. This time, it wasn't the murderous aura from before. Instead, it was ominous qi. This ominous qi was even scarier, as though it came from the 9 nether hell. It was terrifying. At this moment, Erebus was completely flabbergasted. He had not expected this at all. Not only was the other party unafraid of the infernal qi, he had even used it to threaten him. Not only did the infernal qi not pose any threat to him, it might even turn out to be a great cultivation ground for him. In fact, even their old ancestor could use ominous qi to cultivate, but he had to borrow the power of the Black Fiend demonic spirit. However, Yang Hongwu could use ominous qi on his own. That was just too heaven-defying. No, that's not right. This must be an illusion. He Tian still couldn't believe it. Don't try to fool me. That's impossible. You must have some treasure with you that has stored some ominous qi. Is that so? Yang Hongwu laughed. Then, he waved his hand and another ball of ominous qi appeared. Instantly, it surrounded He Tian, shrouding him within. Damn it. He Tian had no choice. This ominous qi was extremely dangerous to him. If the Black Fiend demonic spirit was around, he wouldn't be afraid at all. However, the problem now was that the Black Fiend demonic spirit was entangled. You can go to hell now. Yang Hongwu threw a punch at He Tian. This punch was extremely powerful. At this moment, He Tian couldn't resist at all. Not only was he shrouded in ominous qi, but he was also shrouded in karmic fire. Coupled with the suppression of the devouring furnace, if this punch landed on him, he would definitely die. Little brother, how about giving me some face and sparing my life? At this moment, a voice came from afar. Then, a figure appeared not far away from Yang Hongwu. Seeing who it was, the people of Black Fiend Town were relieved. This person was none other than the old ancestor of Black Fiend Town, the Black Fiend Old Ancestor. His strength was incomparably powerful, and he was the true source of Black Fiend Town's confidence. He was like a mountain. With him around, no one dared to act impudently in Black Fiend Town. Now, Yang Hongwu and his group dared to behave atrociously in Black Fiend Town. Wasn't this a provocation to the Black Fiend Patriarch? Now that he had appeared, the people from the Black Fiend Town were all overjoyed. However, the expressions of Tai Tulong and the others changed enormously. That's because Yang Hongwu's fist did not stop at all. In the next moment, it landed heavily on Erebus' head. Bam! Like a watermelon, He Tian's head was smashed apart by Yang Hongwu's punch. The moment his soul appeared, it was like a flame. Even his soul was incinerated. At this moment, He Tian was deader than dead. You! Damn you! The moment the Black Demon Grandmaster caught sight of this, he was so pissed that his entire body was quivering. What guts! To think that someone would dare to kill He Tian right in front of his face. That was a clear provocation to him. Everyone was stunned at this scene. They could not believe their eyes. The other party killed He Tian right after the old ancestor appeared. This was definitely a provocation to the old ancestor. What gave him the guts to do this right in front of the old ancestor? How dare he provoke the old ancestor? At this moment, the enraged old ancestor disappeared from where he was. In the next moment, he appeared before Yang Hongwu. Raising his hand, he slashed out at Yang Hongwu. A tyrannical saber chi shot out. This was an attack from a half-step Tao Lord. The horrifying aura caused everyone to stare at that figure. However, Yang Hongwu was not afraid at all. Even though the old ancestor was a half-step Tao Lord and exuded a horrifying aura, this attack was still extremely domineering. No one present dared to take it head-on. Even Tai Tulong and Shan Hai Guanren. Even if the two of them were at their peak, they would not dare to take on a half-step Tao Lord like the old ancestor head-on. For them, this attack was definitely hard to defend against. However, Yang Hongwu was extremely confident. He was confident that victory was within his grasp. He was not worried at all and did not back off at all. Bam! The most exciting moment had arrived. To the people of Black Evil Town, they all thought that Yang Hongwu was dead for sure. This brat dared to make a move against the old ancestor. This was simply courting death. On the other hand, Tai Tulong, Shan Hai Guanren, and Yi Tianxing were extremely nervous. They could not wait to add their strength to Yang Hongwu. For them, if Yang Hongwu died, they would definitely die too. Therefore, Yang Hongwu was also very important to them. He absolutely could not die. If something happened to him, they would be in big trouble. At this moment, they were paying attention to the attack between Yang Hongwu and the old ancestor. At the same time, they were also attacking crazily. They hoped to kill both the Black Fiend Guards and the Black Fiend Devil Spirit in the shortest time possible. However, the possibility was too low. After all, this was the Black Fiend Guards and the Black Fiend Devil Spirit. The Black Fiend Devil Spirit was too strange and too powerful. Therefore, they could only hope that Yang Hongwu could stop the old ancestor. As for defeating or even killing the old ancestor, it was impossible. They did not even dare to think about it. Even if Yang Hongwu was so powerful, the possibility was still too small. It was too small. However, Pan and Anya Shenv trusted Yang Hongwu very much. They knew that Yang Hongwu must be confident if he dared to do this. Otherwise, he would have already brought them away. In the next moment, after the two of them collided, a shocking scene appeared. The one who was sent flying was not Yang Hongwu, but the old ancestor. Impossible! The people of Black Fiend Town shouted. They could not believe what they were seeing. The one who was sent flying was actually the old ancestor. That brat was actually fine. It was unbelievable. Chapter 1952. In fact, Yang Hongwu seemed to have the upper hand, as he even managed to push back a half-step Dao Lord. However, he knew very well that the reason he was able to push back a half-step Dao Lord was because this fellow wasn't his real body. His real body was just a clone. His real body was still in the Black Fiend Abyss. Yang Hongwu didn't want to offend the Black Fiend Patriarch. After all, that fellow was also in the Black Fiend Abyss. Once he entered the Black Fiend Abyss, he would definitely have to face the Black Fiend Patriarch. If that happened, it would be very troublesome for Yang Hongwu. However, now that things had come to this point, there was no other way. Since he had already offended the Black Fiend Patriarch, he might as well go all out. Now that He Tian had been killed by him, he, Black Fiend Town, and the Black Fiend Patriarch were now mortal enemies. There was no way to resolve this. So what? Little bastard, you're courting death. If I don't kill you today, I won't be the Lord of Black Fiend Town. The Black Fiend Patriarch was extremely furious. His expression was almost the same as He Tian's arrogant tone. The Black Fiend Patriarch charged forward once again. Although he was only a clone, it was still a clone of a half-step Dao Lord. Although it wasn't as strong as his real body, it was still very terrifying. It was definitely comparable to a late-stage Sovereign Realm expert. Die! The Black Fiend Patriarch launched another attack. This time, he unleashed his strength to the maximum. However, what happened next surprised him. Yang Hongwu didn't fight him head-on. Instead, he disappeared on the spot. Damn it! The Black Fiend Patriarch was even more furious after his attack missed. This little bastard was so despicable that he didn't want to fight him head-on. There was no other way. If this continued, it would be very disadvantageous for him. After all, he was only a clone. The power contained in this clone was limited. It wasn't like his real body. Yang Hongwu also knew the Black Demon Patriarch's weakness. After all, it was only an incarnation. If it was the real body, Yang Hongwu would not hesitate at all. He would just leave. Why would he be stupid enough to fight against it? However, Yang Hongwu wasn't going to play around with the Black Demon Patriarch. Since the Black Demon Patriarch had already become his enemy, he had to kill this clone. Once this clone was killed, the Black Demon Patriarch's real body would suffer a huge backlash. Because if that was the case, he would have more confidence in meeting him in the Black Fiend Abyss. The Black Demon Patriarch really wanted to kill Yang Hongwu, but Yang Hongwu didn't fight him directly. He kept dodging his attacks. However, this allowed the people of Black Fiend Town to breathe a sigh of relief. It turned out that their own old ancestor had not been defeated. It was just a momentary mistake, and it was not a big deal. Wasn't that brat beaten to the point where he didn't dare to fight back? This was enough to prove that this kid was no match for the fiend Black Demon Patriarch. Therefore, they didn't have to worry anymore. Because of this, they felt more confident. However, what they didn't know was that the Black Demon Patriarch was very anxious at this moment. After all, he was only a clone. Moreover, if he couldn't take down Taimo, it would expose the fact that he was only a clone. That would be troublesome. One should know that there were 3 other Supremes on the other side. Tai Tulong and the other 2 were very powerful. If he really fought with them, he wouldn't be able to withstand their attacks unless his real body came. Yang Hongwu was also very clear about the Black Demon Patriarch's situation. The Black Demon Patriarch wanted to kill him, but didn't Yang Hongwu also want to kill him? Both of them were looking for an opportunity. In fact, Yang Hongwu had the upper hand because he knew his opponent's weakness very well. If it wasn't for the fact that he didn't want to pay a huge price, Yang Hongwu would have killed him directly. Little bastard, don't dodge if you have the guts. The Black Demon Patriarch was very anxious. After all, he was only a clone and wasn't as strong as his real body. He also didn't have the confidence to stay calm. All right. A cold light flashed in Yang Hongwu's eyes. He didn't want to delay any longer. Although this guy was only a clone, his real body would definitely suffer a backlash if he killed him. Moreover, the people in Black Demon Town didn't know that he was a clone. This was because he was fighting against a clone. Once he killed it, it would be a huge blow to Black Evil Town. At that time, he could plunder all the treasures in Black Evil Town. After saying that, Yang Hongwu leaped into the air. He stood in the void with a huge seal in his hand. It was the life seal. Terrifying energy was gathering. Above his head, there was a terrifying furnace. This was the devouring furnace. The surrounding spiritual energy was being devoured crazily by it. The spiritual energy within 100,000 feet radius was being sucked dry. Seeing this, the Black Demon Patriarch's face changed drastically. Everyone in Black Demon Town was stunned. Too terrifying, too powerful. Just what kind of background did this guy have? He was devouring spiritual energy to cultivate in the middle of a battle. Ordinary people wouldn't dare to do this. Even if they wanted to recover their cultivation and injuries, they would do it secretly. It was impossible for them to do it so crazily. Moreover, there was the Black Demon Town's mountain protecting formation. There were restrictions in the formation. It was impossible to devour spiritual energy without restraint. If one could devour spiritual energy so crazily in the formation, wouldn't that mean that the Black Demon Town's mountain protecting formation was useless? In that case, wouldn't the formation of Black Evil Town have no effect at all? Would anyone be able to cultivate so crazily in Black Evil Town? It would be a huge blow to the cultivators in Black Demon Town. However, what they didn't know was that the Black Demon Town's mountain protecting formation was under the control of Yang Hongwu. He took out the devouring furnace and the life seal. He wanted to kill the Black Demon Patriarch's clone directly. In fact, at this moment, Yang Hongwu hadn't completely taken control of the Black Demon Town's mountain protecting formation. However, the moment Yang Hongwu launched his attack, the entire Black Demon Town's mountain protecting formation was under his control. With a thought, he struck out a seal. The entire Black Demon Town's mountain protecting formation was activated in an instant. Moreover, it changed from a defensive formation to a terrifying offensive formation. Chapter 1953. This was extremely terrifying. To the crowd, this was definitely a disaster. However, the fiend Black Patriarch could see that this was all because of Yang Hongwu. This guy was not afraid of the baleful aura. He was the one who released the baleful aura. Moreover, the entire formation of Black Fiend Town was no longer under his control. This was too strange. He knew very well that he had absolute control over this formation. But now, he had been stripped of his control. What did this mean? This kid in front of him was too strange. He knew his own strength very well. Even a half-step Tao Lord who was on par with him would not be able to take away his control silently. Moreover, the other party was a master. A powerful formation master. It wasn't that there weren't any half-step Tao Lord array masters, but there was only one such person in the entire Skyspan continent. Moreover, he wasn't strong enough to take control of the array without anyone noticing. In fact, if he wanted to break the array, he would have to. However, this brat had managed to accomplish it without anyone noticing. Old thing, you're just a clone. How dare you be so arrogant? Do you think I can't kill you? Yang Hongwu looked at the fiend Black Patriarch and said. At this moment, Yang Hongwu had sealed the surroundings. The people outside could only see the two of them fighting. They could not hear what they were talking about. Therefore, Yang Hongwu was not worried. As long as he killed this clone, the people of Black Fiend Town would definitely think that he had killed the Fiend Black Patriarch. In that case, he would be able to easily take control of Black Fiend Town. In fact, Yang Hongwu did not care about Black Fiend Town. However, there were still many treasures in Black Fiend Town. At least, compared to Sky Star City, Iron Mountain City, and other cities, the treasures in Black Fiend Town were definitely more. More, no less. The Fiend Black Patriarch turned pale with fright. He looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "How do you know?" However, on second thought, there was nothing strange about this. This kid's origin was strange, and his methods were even more strange. He could silently control the formation of the Black Fiend Town, and could see that he was just an incarnation, so it was not enough for him to do anything. How strange. But to the Black Demon Patriarch, this meant big trouble. If it was the real Yang Hongwu, he wouldn't be worried. He had enough strength. But now, Yang Hongwu knew that he was just a clone. That was why he dared to be so presumptuous. He even wanted to kill him. This brat was too bold. Judging from his expression and tone, he seemed to be very confident in killing him. This was what worried him the most. Although he was only an incarnation of the evil Black Patriarch, he did not want to die. After all, who would want to die? Brat, since you know that I'm just a clone, how dare you be so presumptuous? My true body will return soon. When that time comes, you will die without a burial ground. The Black Fiend Patriarch looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "Let's talk about it when your true body comes. The one I want to kill now is your incarnation." A terrifying cold light burst out from Yang Hongwu's eyes. This cold light instantly rushed out and attacked the incarnation of the Black Demon Patriarch. The Black Demon Patriarch was caught off guard. He didn't expect that Yang Hongwu would have another powerful attack. It was a soul attack. He was just an incarnation and his soul was his weakness. This body was refined by his true body at a great cost. Naturally, it was very strong. However, the soul was only a small part of it. Even the memory it had was less than 1,000th of the memories of his true body. Therefore, this incarnation of his was too weak. It was only equivalent to an early emperor. However, Yang Hongwu's soul attack was extremely powerful. It was so terrifying that even a half-step Tao Lord might not be comparable to it. In addition, this attack was launched suddenly. The soul of the Black Demon Patriarch's incarnation was severely injured in an instant. If another attack was launched, it would be annihilated in an instant. "You, brat, you can't kill me. If you kill me, my true body won't let you go. My true body is now cultivating and is about to break through. Once it breaks through, it will become a Tao Lord. It will be an invincible existence in the Sky Span continent. Do you know what it means to offend a Tao Lord?" The incarnation of the Black Demon Patriarch held on and said to Yang Hongwu, "At that time, there will be no place for you in the Sky Span continent. As a Tao Lord, an expert's divine sense can cover the entire Sky Span continent in an instant. No matter where you hide, you won't be able to avoid it." Yang Hongwu laughed when he heard this. He looked at the incarnation of the Black Demon Patriarch and said, "Naive. You're too naive. Besides, even if I don't kill you, your true body won't attack me. Won't take revenge? What a joke. Besides, even if your true body breaks through, so what? Do you think I don't know that the laws of the Sky Span continent don't allow Tao Lords to exist? This is Tao Lord Ji's supreme treasure, the Jigu Divine Palace. The reason this world exists is probably because Tao Lord Jigu wanted to suppress some terrifying experts, right? Therefore, it's absolutely impossible for a true Tao Lord to appear in this world. Once they appear, they will be taken away or suppressed. There's no other possibility." Although Yang Hongwu wasn't really clear about this, he could still guess. The laws of this world were extremely restrictive. There was no way for true Tao Lords to exist. If a Tao Lord were to appear, the balance of this world would be broken. Think about it, as the master of this world, Tao Lord Halberd. How could Tao Lord Zhigu allow this to happen? You, the incarnation of the Black Demon Patriarch, was stunned. He hadn't expected Yang Hongwu to know so much. He stared at Yang Hongwu and said, "Who are you exactly? Let me know before I die." At this time, he knew that he was going to die. Yang Hongwu would not let him go. If he was in Yang Hongwu's position, he would also not let the enemy go if he encountered such a situation. If he let the enemy go, it was tantamount to letting the tiger go back to the mountain. No one would do that. Chapter 1954. Patriarch. Patriarch has been killed. When the people of Blackfiend Town saw this scene, they felt as if the whole world was about to collapse. As the strongest person in Blackfiend Town, the Patriarch was actually killed. This caused them to completely collapse. In their eyes, the Blackfiend Patriarch was an invincible existence. It was impossible for him to lose. Even when 3 half-step Tao Lords came to cause trouble for Blackfiend Town, the Blackfiend Patriarch was still calm and unruffled. But now, the Blackfiend Patriarch was actually defeated by a nameless brat. Almost everyone couldn't believe that the Patriarch had been killed. The Patriarch was the pillar of Blackfiend Town. Once he died, Blackfiend Town would completely collapse and become the meat on the chopping board. Heiyuni and the Blackfiend Devil Spirit also stopped attacking at this time. All of this happened too suddenly. It was too terrifying. Impossible. Ancestor can't be dead. This is fake. This must be fake. That brat must have used some sort of trick, or Ancestor is deliberately deceiving that brat. Ancestor is definitely not dead. Heiyuni shouted. As the leader of the Blackfiend Guards, he certainly knew what this meant. Once the news of the Patriarch's death spread out, the entire Blackfiend Town would be finished. They wouldn't have a good ending either. Therefore, they had to stabilize the situation. Whether the Patriarch was killed or not, they couldn't let all of this be exposed. He didn't want to die. However, stabilizing the situation was easier said than done. It would be fine if the Black Demon Old Ancestor was still alive. However, if the Black Demon Old Ancestor was really killed, then they would be in big trouble. That brat's strength was too terrifying. It wasn't something they could resist. If he wanted to do something to Blackfiend Town, who could stop him? Thinking of this, Heiyuni had a headache. He couldn't even stop Etianqing now. There were still 2 terrifying experts on the other side. One was Tai Tulong, and the other was Shan Hai Guanyue. He was very clear about their strength. This time, although the strength of these 2 people was far less tyrannical than what he had seen before, who knew if these 2 people were concealing their cultivation? Therefore, it was a big problem now. However, he soon received a voice transmission from the Blackfiend demonic spirit. Heiyuni, the old ancestor, is still alive. Don't worry. The one that was killed by that brat earlier was merely a clone of the old ancestor. At first, the Black Demon demonic spirit was shocked, but he soon recovered. In fact, he was the battle spirit of the Black Demon Old Ancestor and was subdued by the Black Demon Old Ancestor. If the Black Demon Old Ancestor died, he would naturally die too. However, the problem now was that he was fine, so the Black Demon demonic spirit understood that the previous one was just black. It was just an incarnation of Old Ancestor Sha. Although the death of one of his avatars would cause quite a bit of backlash to the Black Demon Forefather, it wasn't a big problem. The Black Demon Forefather's real body was fine. Are you sure? Heiyuni asked. He didn't want to die, but he had to be sure. After all, everyone had seen how the Black Demon Ancestor was killed. As for the Black Demon Spirit, although he knew about its existence, he didn't really know about it, so he didn't know. The Black Demon Spirit was the battle spirit of the Black Demon Old Ancestor. I'm the battle spirit of the Old Ancestor. If the Old Ancestor was killed, then I will definitely die. Now that I'm fine, the Old Ancestor is also fine. The one that was killed was just a clone of the Old Ancestor. the black demon spirit explained. Heiyuni felt confident after hearing this. He originally thought that the black demon spirit was just a powerful subordinate of the old ancestor. He didn't expect that the black demon spirit was actually the old ancestor's battle spirit. It seemed that the old ancestor's strength was really unfathomable. Heiyuni was relieved after hearing this. If the black demon old ancestor was really killed, he would also consider his own problem. After all, he didn't want to die. However, since the black demon patriarch was still alive, he didn't need to think about anything else. He was very clear about the black demon patriarch's strength. As the leader of the black demon guard, the most powerful force under the black demon patriarch's command, he was still loyal to the black demon patriarch. If the old ancestor was dead, he wouldn't have chosen to betray the old ancestor. Everyone, don't panic. The old ancestor is fine. That kid is just an early-stage emperor. Who is the old ancestor? He's a half-step Tao Lord. Think about it. Can a mere early-stage emperor fight against the old ancestor? Don't even think about it. It's simply a fantasy to say that he killed the old ancestor. It's a joke. Heiyuni shouted. Yes, it must be so. The old ancestor won't die. Lord Cloud One is correct. The patriarch is so powerful that even 3 half-step Tao Lords weren't able to defeat him. From this, one can see just how powerful the patriarch is. How can a mere eternal emperor be considered the patriarch? The old ancestor's opponent? This is just a tactic that the old ancestor deliberately used. In other words, the old ancestor is testing us. One of them said, Yes, the old ancestor won't die. Another person nodded. In an instant, the people of Black Fiend Town calmed down. They were no longer as panicked as before. No, everyone saw that kid's strength. He's definitely not just an emperor. If he's just an emperor, how could the young master be killed? At this moment, another person spoke. His words were full of doubt. That's right. That's true. Everyone here has witnessed young master's strength. No matter what, he was a ruler. Yet, he was easily killed by that brat. This is something that cannot be concealed. Hearing that person's words, the others began to echo in agreement. That's right. In an instant, many people became worried. This is a test the old ancestor gave us. The young master is naturally not the real one. How could the real young master be so weak? How could a sovereign be killed by an emperor? That's impossible. You've all seen early-stage emperor warriors. Can they kill a sovereign? Heiyuni was furious. He was anxious, but there was nothing he could do. He could only explain. He naturally knew what these people were thinking. If he didn't know that the old ancestor's clone had just been killed, he would have reacted the same way. This was normal. What Heiyuni said is correct. However, that boy's strength is simply too valiant. When Yang Hongwu made his move, he actually killed a lot of people. Many of these people were very strong. There was no doubt about that. Chapter 1955. An incarnation? Like I said, the patriarch will be fine. As long as the patriarch returns, he'll be dead for sure. Hearing Heiyuni's words, the people of Black Fiend Town regained their confidence. As long as the patriarch was fine, they would be confident. After all, the patriarch was the stabilizing force of Black Fiend Town. As long as he wasn't dead, everything would be fine. However, what they didn't know was that even if the patriarch rushed over, it would still be too late. Right now, the entire Black Fiend Town was under Yang Hongwu's control. The array formation to enter the Black Fiend Abyss had also been completely sealed off by Yang Hongwu. Without him opening it, no one would be able to enter or leave Black Fiend Town. Therefore, Yang Hongwu was confident of victory. Unless another half-step Tao Lord appeared to help Black Fiend Town, no one else could do anything. So what if he's not dead? Yang Hongwu said. If I can kill an incarnation of the patriarch, I can also kill his true body. Looking at the people of Black Fiend Town, Yang Hongwu's eyes flashed coldly. If you don't want to die, submit to me. Otherwise, all of you will die. What a big tone. He Yuni was infuriated. Who do you think you are? You're just an emperor. When the patriarch returns, it'll be your death. Haha, what a joke. I've already killed the patriarch's incarnation and injured his true body. Now, he's probably hiding like a tortoise, not daring to come out. Even if he dares to come out, I can still kill him. Yang Hongwu laughed. He didn't put them in his eyes at all. Bastard, go and kill that kid. Don't care about the others. He Yuni and the Black Fiend Devil Spirit were furious. They didn't expect that the patriarch would be humiliated like this. In their hearts, the patriarch was a god. Nothing would happen to him. But now, he was humiliated like this. How could they stand it? Not only He Yuni and the Black Fiend Devil Spirit, but the other people of Black Fiend Town were also furious. In their eyes, the patriarch was the strongest and couldn't be humiliated. Yang Hongwu looked at the aggressive crowd from Black Fiend Town, not putting them in his eyes at all. Tai Tulong, all of you step back. I'll deal with them, Yang Hongwu said. Tai Tulong, Shanhai Guanyue and the others were shocked. They didn't expect Yang Hongwu to say such a thing. Was he going to fight the entire Black Evil Town alone? This was too arrogant. Even without the Black Demon Old Ancestor, the strength of the Black Demon Town was not weak. It should be known that the strength of the entire Black Demon Town could be ranked in the top 10 in the sky-reaching continent. No matter how powerful the Black Demon Patriarch was, it was impossible for Black Demon Town to enter the top 10. Young Master. Shanhai Guanyue was a little worried. He looked at Yang Hongwu and wondered if he had heard wrongly. It's all right. Yang Hongwu knew what Shanhai Guanyue was thinking. He smiled and said, "They're all chickens and pottery dogs. They're not worth mentioning. I can easily kill them all by myself." Upon hearing the words of Yang Hongwu, everyone from Black Fiend Town was infuriated. This guy was looking down on them completely. To think that he would dare to take on all of them by himself. Even if a half-step Tao Lord were to come forth, they would not dare to utter such words. One should know that there was a powerful existence like the Black Fiend demonic spirit among them. Although the Black Fiend demonic spirit's cultivation was only equivalent to a late-stage sovereign realm expert, in fact, if there was no way to deal with it, it was almost invincible. Unless a half-step Tao Lord expert attacked, no one could deal with him. "Leave this brat to me." The Black Demon Spirit's eyes flashed coldly as he said coldly. After saying that, the Black Demon Spirit soared into the sky and ran towards Yang Hongwu. He was very confident. Although Yang Hongwu was extraordinary, his cultivation realm was only at the Emperor realm. He was a late-stage sovereign. How could he deal with a mere emperor? No matter how strong he was, a martial artist of the same realm would not be that strong. "You're just a demon spirit. How dare you be so arrogant? Since you dare to come first, I'll kill you first." Yang Hongwu snorted coldly and waved his hand. A terrifying light burst out and instantly formed a seal. This seal was in front of the Black Fiend demon spirit. Before the Black Demon Spirit could react, he was trapped. Then a flame appeared. He Yuni had seen this flame before. He quickly warned, "Be careful. That's karmic fire." However, it was already too late. The trapped Black Fiend demonic spirit found out that even if he transformed into a demonic spirit, he could not escape from the seal. Moreover, the flame had already entered the sealed space. Instantly it burned. The Black Fiend demonic spirit was not only a demon, but also a demonic spirit. The Black Fiend demonic spirit's karma was extremely terrifying. He had killed countless people to accumulate his strength. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to reach such a realm. Therefore, when the karmic fire landed on his body, it burned fiercely. It didn't give him a chance at all. At this time, the Black Demon Spirit cried out miserably. He wanted to break the seal frantically, but there was no way. He could only let the karmic fire burn wildly in the seal. If there was no other power, the black demon spirit could still survive. However, Yang Hongwu wouldn't give him a chance. At this time, Yang Hongwu had already summoned the devouring furnace. The devouring furnace had already enveloped the black demon spirit. At this moment, he couldn't resist at all. The devouring furnace crazily devoured his strength, whether it was evil qi or demonic fire. The devil qi was completely devoured and refined by Yang Hongwu, turning into his own power. Damn beast! Let me out if you have the guts! The black demon spirit shouted. However, Yang Hongwu didn't care about him. This guy's strength was very strong. Devouring his strength made Yang Hongwu feel very good. His cultivation base was increasing rapidly. It had been a long time since he felt so good. If he could do it a few more times, he could even break through to the sovereign realm. Of course, this black demon spirit could only increase his cultivation base by a small realm. Reaching the second level of the Emperor realm was probably his limit. However, he had to admit that the speed of improvement was very fast. Chapter 1956. Kill. One by one, they rushed towards Yang Hongwu. However, before they could reach Yang Hongwu, they were blocked. That was because of the formation. The formation formed an invisible barrier, blocking everyone's attack. They could only watch as Yang Hongwu killed the Black Fiend Devil Spirit. After refining the Black Fiend Devil Spirit, Yang Hongwu's cultivation finally reached the second layer of Emperor Realm. Although it was only a small increase in cultivation level, his strength had increased tremendously. Under normal circumstances, it was very difficult to make a breakthrough in cultivation. However, the Black Fiend Devil Spirit was different. It was a late-stage Sovereign Realm Devil Spirit. After being devoured and refined by Yang Hongwu, he obtained a majestic energy. It was because of this that he was able to make a breakthrough so smoothly. If it was another late-stage Sovereign Realm expert, it would be impossible for Yang Hongwu. Speaking of which, the Black Fiend Devil Spirit was like a moving divine medicine to Yang Hongwu. As long as he refined it, his cultivation would increase. It was a pity that there was only one Black Fiend Devil Spirit. If there were a few more, it would be great. Of course, if he entered the Black Fiend Abyss, he might be able to find more Black Fiend Devil Spirit. What should we do? An elder of Black Fiend Town looked at Heiyuni. At this time, although Heiyuni's strength was not the strongest, he had faintly become the soul of Black Fiend Town. Everyone in Black Fiend Town looked at him. Yes, Heiyuni, how long will it take for the old ancestor to come back? Another person said. Heiyuni smiled bitterly in his heart. How would he know? The only person who knew was the Black Fiend Devil Spirit. However, the Black Fiend Devil Spirit had been killed. Therefore, he did not know when the old ancestor would come back. However, he did not dare to say so at this time. If he said so, he was afraid that everyone's momentum would collapse. Once the momentum collapsed, it would be troublesome. Black Fiend Town could not be defended. When the old ancestor came back, Black Fiend Town would be destroyed, and there would be nothing left. Very soon. The old ancestor is on the way. However, the distance is quite far. It will take some time. As long as we can hold on for a period of time and wait for the old ancestor to arrive, the death of this brat will arrive, said Heiyuni. At this time, Yang Hongwu walked towards Heiyuni's group, step by step. A powerful aura enveloped everyone from Black Demon Town. Although it was only one person, in the eyes of the people from Black Evil Town, it was as if he was a terrifying army, giving them a frightening pressure. Sir, you're really strong. You alone can suppress everyone and even force them to retreat. Tai Tulong, Shanhai Guanyue, and the others were shocked by this scene. Too strong, too domineering. His strength was so strong. Yes, young master is too strong. Shanhai Guanyue sighed. She looked at Pan and I and Anya Shen. They were so lucky to have such a man. You still want to wait for your old ancestor? Stop dreaming. Even if he arrives, he doesn't have the ability to save you, Yang Hongwu said as he looked at them. What should we do? The closer Yang Hongwu got, the more they retreated. The entire black evil town seemed so weak in front of Yang Hongwu. This was unprecedented. Moreover, the opponent was only a second-layer Emperor Realm warrior. However, it was this second-level Imperial Emperor Realm martial artist who had killed their ancestors' incarnation, their young master, and the Black Fiend Devil Spirit. The strength he displayed was too strong. He was simply an invincible existence. They couldn't fight against him. Damn it! Heiyuni roared in anger. It was too frustrating. How could the dignified Black Evil Town encounter such a situation? They were suppressed and looked down upon. If their old ancestor was here, no one would dare to do this. But there was no if. The other party's strength was so strong that it made them feel so helpless. Now, Black Evil Town was like Yang Hongwu's hunting ground. They were the prey that couldn't fight back. They were lambs waiting to be slaughtered. If you surrender and submit to me, I can spare your lives, Yi Futian said coldly. Yang Hongwu was like a supreme king, and the people of Black Evil Town were like prisoners of war. If they dared to resist, they would die without a doubt. What do you want? Our old ancestor will be back soon. Our old ancestor's strength isn't something you can resist. Heiyuni said, It's not too late for you to retreat now. Once our old ancestor arrives, you won't be able to resist. Perhaps our old ancestor has already broken through to the Tao Lord realm. Ha! Yang Hongwu laughed. Tai Tulong and the others laughed as well. They looked at Heiyuni as if they were looking at a fool. You must be joking. Breaking through to the Tao Lord realm? So what if he really breaks through to the Tao Lord realm? Mountain Sea Guanyue said, Once he breaks through to the Tao Lord realm, the laws of this world won't allow him to exist. After breaking through, he must leave this world and the Tongtian continent. Heiyuni looked embarrassed. He had been so anxious that he had forgotten about this. It seems that you aren't willing to submit. Then you must die. When he said this, some people couldn't bear the pressure anymore. I'm willing to submit. I'm willing to submit, an early emperor said. He had already knelt down. A cold light flashed in Heiyuni's eyes. Damn it! How dare you surrender? He punched out and smashed the man's head, killing him instantly. Who dares to be a traitor? This is his example. Heiyuni swept his cold gaze over the crowd. Die. However, before he could finish speaking, Yang Hongwu made his move. In a flash, he appeared beside Heiyuni and grabbed his neck, sealing his cultivation. Then, he slapped him hard across the face. A bright red handprint appeared on his face. Then, Yang Hongwu threw him on the ground like a dead dog. Seeing this scene, the people of Black Fiend Town all held their breath. Terrifying, too terrifying. They looked at Yang Hongwu with eyes full of fear. In just a few moves, almost all the experts of Black Demon Town had been killed by Yang Hongwu. It could be said that they didn't have any power to fight back. Who was this person? How could his strength be so terrifying? Could this person really be the successor of Tao Lord Zhiga? His cultivation was indeed only at the Emperor realm. However, the strength he displayed had far surpassed the ordinary sovereign realm. It could even be said that he had reached the level of a half-step Tao Lord. A second-layer Emperor realm with strength comparable to a half-step Tao Lord. How terrifying was his strength! Those who are willing to submit to me can live. Those who don't submit to me will die. Yang Hongwu looked at the crowd. After Yang Hongwu captured the soul of the person who had just been killed, he injected a ray of spiritual light into it. That soul became stronger. Those who are willing to submit to me, I naturally won't let them suffer. Chapter 1957. With this, everyone in Black Fiend Town submitted to Yang Hongwu. Not many dared to oppose Yang Hongwu. Those who dared to resist were beaten to death. It was at this moment that Yang Hongwu discovered that Blackfiend Town's formation was under attack from the outside world. Yang Hongwu frowned slightly. With a glance, he could tell that someone was coming. One of them was actually a half-step Dao Lord. For a half-step Dao Lord to appear here, it couldn't be a coincidence. Who is it? Yang Hongwu waved his hand and a screen of light appeared before everyone's eyes. Within the screen of light was the person attacking Blackfiend Town's formation. Not good. Young master, that person is a friend of the Blackfiend Patriarch, Patriarch Qianshan. Someone said. Patriarch Qianshan? Yang Hongwu frowned slightly. Who is he? He's very strong. He's from the same generation as the Blackfiend Patriarch. The two of them are very close. Rumor has it that the two of them are fellow disciples. Tai Tulung said. Young master, if he's here, we'll be in trouble. That's right. That fellow is outside Blackfiend Town right now, attacking the formation. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. That fellow doesn't have good intentions. What? That's bad. Tianxing's expression changed. He's too strong. If he's here, we'll have to leave. No need. Yang Hongwu shook his head. There's no need to worry at all. Although he's strong, there's no way he can enter Blackfiend Town right now. The entire town is under my control. Of course, that's assuming that there's only one half-step Dao Lord. What I'm worried about is the Blackfiend Patriarch. If he appears again, I won't be able to stop two half-step Dao Lords working together. This was a huge problem. Since Patriarch Qianshan was a friend of the Blackfiend Patriarch, and they were very close, and now that he had appeared again, the Blackfiend Patriarch was probably on his way. If that was the case, he had to think of something. This. Young master, what should we do now? Tai Tulung had run out of ideas as well. This was truly terrifying. One person was already hard enough to deal with. If another person were to join the fray, it would be even more troublesome. They couldn't win unless one of them broke through to the half-step Dao Lord realm. Otherwise, they wouldn't be a match for him. Yang Hongwu was indeed powerful and was comparable to a half-step Dao Lord in his opinion. However, how could he resist the joint forces of two half-step Dao Lords? The possibility of that happening was too small. If Yang Hongwu couldn't resist, then none of them would be able to survive. Given the current situation, the Black Demon Forefather's fury was extremely terrifying. One could easily imagine the consequences of his revenge. Don't worry too much. Although they are strong, if I don't want to fight them head-on, they won't be able to catch up to me. Yang Hongwu was very confident. Tai Tulung and the others breathed a sigh of relief. Now that Black Demon Town is under my control, it's time to plunder the treasures of Black Demon Town. Yang Hongwu had completely sealed off Black Demon Town. Therefore, the people of Black Demon Town didn't know that the Qianshan forefather was attacking Black Demon Town's formation from the outside. If they knew, they wouldn't be so afraid of Yang Hongwu. Some of them would think of ways to attack Yang Hongwu. However, without knowing that there were experts outside and under the pressure of Yang Hongwu, they didn't dare to resist Yang Hongwu. Pan and Anya Shen's eyes lit up when they heard that Yang Hongwu wanted to go to Black Demon Town's treasury. The same went for Tai Tulung and the others. Although they didn't know what treasures were in Blackfiend Town's treasury, they were certain that there would be plenty of treasures. After all, this was Blackfiend Town, and the Blackfiend Patriarch was a half-step Dao Lord. How could the treasures he had accumulated over the years be ordinary? At the very least, the treasury of Black Demon Town was richer than theirs. Under the lead of an elder of Black Demon Town, the group arrived at the entrance of Black Demon Town's treasury. The entire treasury was protected by a powerful formation and restriction. Unless they had the Black Demon Forefather's personal order, they wouldn't be able to open the formation and restriction. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to enter the treasury. Do you have the Forefather's personal order? The guard didn't care who the other party was. He only recognized the Black Demon Forefather and his personal order. Unless it was the Black Demon Forefather himself or had his personal order token, he wouldn't open the treasury for anyone. Moreover, even if he wanted to, he wouldn't be able to open the treasury. Only the Black Demon Forefather's personal order and himself could open the treasury. Of course, the Black Demon Forefather was different. As the owner of Black Demon Town, he naturally could open the treasury. Young master, to open the treasury, you need the Black Demon Forefather's personal order or the Black Demon Forefather himself. Others can't do it. What? The guard's expression changed. He stared at Yang Hongwu and the others and unleashed a terrifying aura. You don't have the Forefather's personal order or the Forefather's approval. You want to open the treasury by force? You're courting death. As a guard of the treasury, he was very powerful. Although he was stubborn, he wasn't a fool. After hearing the words of Yang Hongwu and the others, he could tell that they were here for the treasury. Who are you? Asked the other guard. Both of them were at the sovereign realm. Their strength could be said to be quite strong. Open the treasury and we'll spare your lives. At this time, Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue stepped forward. Their cultivation bases were the highest, so they weren't afraid of the two guards. The two guards were only early and mid-sovereigns respectively. You're courting death. If you know what's good for you, leave quickly. Otherwise, you'll die here. One of the guards said. Although he knew that Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue were very powerful, he wasn't worried at all. This was because there was a formation here. They could use the formation and the power of the formation to attack their enemies. This was a trump card left behind by the Black Demon Forefather. As the treasury of Black Demon Town, it was one of the most important places in the town. How could it not have a protective force? You can leave now. Yang Hongwu waved his hand at Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue. He then looked at the two guards and said, although you're strong, you can't stop me. As for why you're so confident, I'm afraid it's because of the formation and seals here. However, they're nothing in front of me. They're like paper that I can break with a flick of my finger. Chapter 1958. How is this possible? Could it be that the brat really has the Patriarch's handwritten order? The guard's eyes widened when he saw how easily Yang Hongwu opened the seal. He cursed in his heart, damn it, you actually have the Patriarch's handwritten order, why are you still here? What's in the box? Why don't you just take it out? A mere formation can't stop me. I've already destroyed this formation and seal. Let's go in. Yang Hongwu ignored them and led Pan and I and Anya Shenv into the treasury. As for Tai Tulong and the other two, they held down the two of them. The guards suppressed them. After entering the treasury, Yang Hongwu's lips curled into a smile. There were many treasures here, more than twice as many as the treasures in Tianxing City. What a dense power of darkness! At that moment, something entered Yang Hongwu's eyes. It was a box that emitted a strong power of darkness. This power of darkness wasn't the evil kind, but the pure power of darkness. It was the power of the law of darkness. This thing is fated with you. Yang Hongwu stared at the box after seeing Anya Shenv enter the treasury. Although he didn't know what was in the box, Yang Hongwu knew that the thing in the box was made for Anya Shenv. Thank you. Anya Shenv was overjoyed and nodded at Yang Hongwu. But don't be impulsive. Let me see what it is, in case we encounter danger. Yang Hongwu said. This thing was too mysterious, and the power it contained was terrifying. Therefore, he had to figure out what it was. He had to know what was in the box to prevent any accident. Okay. Anya Shenv nodded. He knew that Yang Hongwu was doing this for his own good, so he didn't refuse. Moreover, he didn't dare to open the box. Although the power of darkness in the box would be of great help to him, what if there was an expert sealed in the box? She didn't have the confidence to resist the possession when the right person came. As long as the other party was a late-stage sovereign, she wouldn't have the confidence to resist. Even if the other party didn't have a physical body, it would still be the same. After all, she wasn't as strong as Yang Hongwu. I'll put it away first, Yang Hongwu said. We'll see when the time comes. Yang Hongwu reached out his hand and grabbed the box. However, to Yang Hongwu's surprise, the box actually formed a barrier that blocked Yang Hongwu's power and bounced his hand away. This thing. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. It actually dares to resist? Yang Hongwu reached for the box again. At this time, a black ray of light shot out from the box and attacked Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu waved his hand and destroyed the attack. A cold light flashed in his eyes. Yang Hongwu didn't dare to open his Dharma Eye of Annihilation to see what was inside the box. After all, it was very likely that the box was sealed. It was a darkness attribute expert. If it was the soul of a Tao Lord, it would be troublesome. That was why Yang Hongwu didn't dare to act rashly. You still dare to attack me? It seems that you don't want me to see your true body, Yang Hongwu said indifferently. Tai Tulong and the others entered at this time. The original 2 guards were beaten like dead dogs. The cultivation of the 3 of them was strong to begin with. Moreover, it was 3 against 2. The 2 guards of the treasury naturally did not have any power to fight back. Young master, what's the matter? Seeing that Yang Hongwu was staring at a black box, the 3 of them couldn't help but be curious. Nothing. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, This box is not simple. I don't know what kind of expert is sealed inside. I seem to have heard of this box, Yi Tianxing said. You have? Yang Hongwu looked at Yi Tianxing and asked, What's the origin of this thing? Although Yang Hongwu had read a part of Yi Tianxing's memory, it wasn't all of it. He only knew the sealed part of Yi Tianxing's memory. As for the rest, Yang Hongwu selectively read some of it. Yes, young master. I was still young at that time. At that time, I saw a pattern on this box. Yi Tianxing said, It's this pattern. It said that this pattern is related to the Dark Knight Patriarch. Dark Knight Patriarch? Yang Hongwu was stunned. Who is that? Dark Knight Patriarch Anya Shenv? Maybe he's also from the Anya clan? Is he related to Anya Shenv? Yang Hongwu wasn't sure. The Dark Knight Patriarch is a peerless expert. A long time ago, when I was only in the Divine Emperor realm, the Dark Knight Patriarch was already dominating the entire Tongtian continent. Yi Tianxing said, later, the Dark Knight Patriarch's sworn enemy, the Sun Patriarch, plotted against the Dark Knight Patriarch. The Sun Patriarch plotted against the Dark Knight Patriarch, and after the battle, he disappeared completely, the Dark Knight Patriarch and the Sun Patriarch said. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. It made Yang Hongwu wonder if the 2 of them were the same person as the Sun God and the Dark Knight God of the Dark Knight continent. If so, it would be interesting and very likely. Could this person be the ancestor of our Anya clan? The Anya goddess frowned slightly and said, Why don't I have a try? Yang Hongwu still shook his head. No, it's too dangerous. I can't let you take the risk. So what if he's the Dark Knight Patriarch? He might not have any good intentions now. That's right, sister. It's too risky. Besides, I have a plan in mind. Even if the other party is the ancestor of the Anya clan, so what? He might not have any good intentions, Pan and I said. I don't care who you are. If you don't know what's good for you, I'll kill you. Yang Hongwu said coldly. Boy, you're so arrogant. At this time, a voice came from the box. In the next moment, a figure appeared. The figure was very tall and full of dark energy. It was very pure and overbearing. The appearance of the figure shocked everyone. The man's aura was very strong. Although he didn't have a physical body, his aura was too terrifying. He was even more terrifying than an ordinary half-step Tao Lord. Yang Hongwu was also very clear about this. After all, there was a half-step Tao Lord outside Black Evil Town. His aura was far weaker than this guy. After all, this guy was already so terrifying without a physical body. This was because, if it was his true body, how terrifying would that be? However, Yang Hongwu still didn't take it seriously. Chapter 1959. I'm curious. Who are you? Yang Hongwu looked at the guy in front of him and asked. I'm Dao Monarch Darkness. Dao Monarch Darkness? Never heard of you. Yang Hongwu said. I don't care if you're Dao Monarch Darkness or something else. If you know what's good for you, then open your mind and let me brand you with my mark. Dao Monarch Darkness couldn't help but laugh when he heard this. He looked at Yang Hongwu and said, Kid, you sure talk big. No one has ever dared to talk to me like this. You're really good. You've offended me. If you kneel down and beg for mercy now and let me plant a slave mark on you, I can spare your life. He was looked down upon by Yang Hongwu. He was a Dao monarch expert, but he was actually defeated by a mere second-layer emperor. How could he not be angry? However, a Dao monarch was a Dao monarch after all. His state of mind was very stable. Even though he didn't have a physical body and had been sealed for countless years, he wasn't particularly angry when he was looked down upon and even humiliated by others. Of course, it wasn't that he wasn't angry. In fact, he knew his current situation. After all, he was still sealed. Although he could come out now, he could only use a small portion of his strength. It was less than 1% of his peak strength. If he had a physical body, he could still use 10% of his strength. If he could use 10% of his strength, he could easily kill these people. If he hadn't sensed the terrifying aura from this kid that could threaten him, he wouldn't have appeared and resisted Yang Hongwu. After all, this kid seemed to be able to open the seal on the box. The seal on the box was placed by Dao Monarch Zhigu. Almost no one could open it. However, although this kid could open it, the threat he posed was too great. It made his soul tremble. It was too dangerous. Let's see who dies first. A cold light shot out from Yang Hongwu's eyes. He didn't want to waste any time. After all, Ancestor Qianshan was still eyeing him. Moreover, he didn't know when Ancestor Black Fiend would return. Once Ancestor Black Fiend and Ancestor Qianshan joined forces, his formation wouldn't be able to hold them off for long. If he had to face two half-step Dao Lords, it would be very troublesome. After saying that, Yang Hongwu waved his hand and a ball of flame appeared. This ball of flame was the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. This flame was like a spirit. Although the fiery lotus had not awakened, Yang Hongwu could fully control the Red Lotus hellfire. Although it was not as smooth and powerful as when the fiery lotus was awakened, it was not weak either. Moreover, Yang Hongwu did not need to be so fancy when using the hellfire. He could just use the hellfire to burn it. This is the karmic fire of the Red Lotus? Dao Lord Darkness's eyes flashed. He didn't expect Yang Hongwu to have such a godly fire. The karmic fire of the Red Lotus was very powerful. If he was at his peak or had a physical body, he wouldn't have to worry about it. However, the problem now was that not only was he not at his peak, he didn't even have a physical body. How could he resist it? He laughed bitterly in his heart. Could it be that he had to return to the seal? In fact, he had paid a huge price to break a crack in the seal on the box, allowing a part of his soul to be released. If he went back, it would be very sullen. However, if this part of his soul was destroyed, it would be very harmful to him. Therefore, Dao Lord Darkness had a headache when he saw Yang Hongwu take out the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. Kid, you don't think that a mere flame can threaten me, do you? Dao Lord Darkness said. Although the karmic fire of the Red Lotus is very powerful, your cultivation realm is still too low. If you were at the sovereign realm, I might be afraid. However, you are now only at the Emperor realm. Even if I am not at my peak, I can still kill you. Is that so? If you can kill me, then come. Let's see who will kill who. Yang Hongwu snorted. With a wave of his hand, The ball of flames flew towards Tao Lord Darkness figure. Damn it. As soon as the karmic fire flew over, Tao Lord Darkness felt a terrible injury. Did the threat he felt come from the karmic fire? He didn't believe it. There was a terrifying power in Yang Hongwu's body. Although this power couldn't be released for the time being, it made him very wary. Kid, you win. Tao Lord Darkness exhaled and extinguished the karmic fire. However, it also consumed a lot of his energy, causing his soul to weaken significantly. His aura was much weaker than before. How about you and I make a deal? Even if you kill me, it will only be a clone. Tao Lord Darkness said. You actually admitted defeat? Yang Hongwu looked at Tao Lord Darkness in shock. This fellow was still extremely arrogant earlier on. But after seeing his godly flame, he admitted defeat. This was something that surprised Yang Hongwu. Deal? What kind of deal do you want? Yang Hongwu looked at Tao Lord Darkness. This guy was indeed very strong. If it wasn't for the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, he might not be able to suppress him. Of course, if he wanted to kill him, it was impossible to rely on the karmic fire of the Red Lotus alone. From the scene of that guy extinguishing the karmic fire of the Red Lotus so easily, it could be seen that if he wanted to kill him, he would have to use the devouring furnace. After all, he was only a spirit body and didn't have a physical body. The devouring furnace was the most terrifying thing to the spirit body. Don't worry, you will be satisfied. You have the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, but it should be at its limit. I have something in my hands that can make your karmic fire of the Red Lotus reach another level. Tao Lord Darkness said. What is it? Yang Hongwu asked. The Red Lotus Seed. Tao Lord Darkness said. Hearing this, Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. If it was the Red Lotus Seed, it would be of great help to him. It's just a Red Lotus Seed. Although it's useful to me, it's not very useful. Yang Hongwu looked at Tao Lord Darkness and shook his head. If that's your condition, then you still have to die. Die? You can't kill me. Tao Monarch Darkness said. I just don't want this incarnation to be killed. After all, I've been sealed for countless years. Now I've finally opened a crack with great difficulty and split out an incarnation. If it's killed, I'll have to split out another incarnation to break the seal. It's too difficult and will take too much time. It's not worth it. If it's not like this, how could I be suppressed by a mere sovereign emperor like you? Threatened by you? Aren't you afraid that I will fall out with you? Yang Hongwu said coldly. Chapter 1960. No, you won't. Because I'm still useful to you. Tao Monarch Darkness said. Besides, even if you want to deal with me, you don't have that much time now. Trouble is coming. Yang Hongwu glanced at Tao Monarch Darkness. He had to admit that this guy was a wily old fox. He had seen through Yang Hongwu's current situation and seemed to be sure that he could defeat Yang Hongwu. Indeed, even if Yang Hongwu could kill Tao Monarch Darkness, it would take a while. It wouldn't be a small price to pay. Besides, it wouldn't be a small amount of time. Besides, if he really had a suitable cultivation technique for Anya Shenv, he really couldn't refuse. What do you want? Yang Hongwu looked at him and asked. Outside, Ancestor Qianshan was attacking the formation like a tiger watching its prey. Therefore, Yang Hongwu didn't want to waste too much time. Yang Hongwu didn't reject Tao Monarch Darkness's words. Indeed, if he could help him, he wouldn't hesitate. He wouldn't attack him. Besides, this time, his goal was the planar boat in the Black Fiend Abyss. As a true Tao Monarch, he was definitely knowledgeable. With his help, it might be easier for him to find what he wanted. Find a physical body for my avatar. Tao Monarch Darkness said. You want to possess a body? Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. You can say that. Tao Monarch Darkness said. My true body is sealed in this box and no one can open it. Even if someone can open the seal, it won't be a good thing for me. Once the seal is opened, it will be very dangerous. Once the seal is broken, Jiga will be able to sense it. It'll be even more troublesome. Therefore, if I don't want to be sealed, I can only rely on my avatar. I want to be free. Seeing Yang Hongwu remain silent, Tao Monarch Darkness said, "This shouldn't be difficult for you, right?" "Alright." Yang Hongwu nodded. "I promise you that I'll find a physical body for your avatar. Now, can you give me the red lotus seed and that cultivation technique?" "I'll give you the cultivation technique now. As for the red lotus seed, I'll give it to you after you find a suitable body for me," Tao Monarch Darkness said. Yang Hongwu had no objections to Tao Monarch Darkness's actions. "Sure." After Yang Hongwu nodded, Tao Monarch Darkness smiled and waved his hand. A ball of white light appeared, which Yang Hongwu grabbed. It was a jade slip. This jade slip naturally recorded a cultivation technique. With a thought, Yang Hongwu checked the cultivation method. Darkness Sovereign Technique. What a good technique. After checking it out, Yang Hongwu took a deep breath. This technique was truly domineering. It cultivated the power of darkness. Once cultivated to the peak, one would be able to comprehend the Tao of darkness and reach the limits of a Tao Lord. In fact, they might even have a chance to break through to the Tao Lord level of power. However, the possibility of that happening wasn't high. The final tier wasn't complete at all. Therefore, this cultivation technique could only allow one to reach the 9th tier of Tao Lord realm. Even so, it was still terrifying. A cultivation technique that could allow one to reach the 9th tier of Tao Lord realm. It was a precious existence. However, what surprised Yang Hongwu was why Tao Monarch Darkness handed over this cultivation technique so easily. Perhaps there was some conspiracy behind it. Moreover, Yang Hongwu couldn't tell what Tao Monarch Darkness had done to this cultivation technique. This made Yang Hongwu a little worried. However, one had to admit that if the goddess of the Dark Night could get her hands on this cultivation technique, her strength would increase tremendously. Dark Night, I've seen this cultivation technique. It's very shocking. If you can cultivate it to the peak, you can reach the Tao Lord realm. Moreover, it's very compatible with your constitution. However, I'm not sure if there's anything wrong with this cultivation technique. However, you need to consider it yourself. Yang Hongwu handed this cultivation technique to Anya Shenv and let Anya Shenv make the decision. After all, although this cultivation technique was powerful, there were too many unknowns. Yang Hongwu wasn't confident. Once she cultivated it, it would be a very risky action. Anya Shenv looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "Do you mean that this cultivation technique can help me reach the Tao Lord realm and improve my strength greatly?" "That's right. Even though that's the case, I can't see through this skill at all. Furthermore, for Tao Lord Darkness to hand over such a powerful skill so easily, I can't help but feel suspicious." Yang Hongwu nodded his head and confirmed his suspicions. He didn't hide it and told Anya Shenv. After all, although Anya Shenv hadn't really become his woman, there were basically no variables. She could be regarded as his woman. "I'll cultivate it." Anya Shenv nodded and said in a very firm tone, "Since you've made up your mind, I won't say anything more." Yang Hongwu looked at Anya Shenv and said, "However, if you find something wrong when you cultivate, stop cultivating. I'll find a way to find another suitable cultivation technique for you." "Dharma. Actually, I don't want to be left too far behind by you. I also want to help you. I don't want to be a burden to you. Therefore, since this cultivation method can give me a huge boost and help my cultivation, I'll cultivate it because I'm too weak right now. I can't help you." Anya Shenv looked at Yang Hongwu with tenderness in his eyes. "You don't have to worry that I'll tamper with the cultivation technique." At this time, Tao Monarch Darkness said, "In fact, this cultivation technique was comprehended by me from an ancient stone tablet. It can be considered a cultivation technique that I created. As for the last level of this cultivation technique, it's just my guess." It's unknown whether you can cultivate it or not. In fact, I have a selfish motive for letting you cultivate this cultivation technique. Once you cultivate this cultivation technique, you'll be regarded as my successor. The stronger you are, the stronger I'll be. Moreover, if you comprehend this cultivation technique to the extreme and evolve it that belongs to you, I'll be able to sense it. Moreover, if you comprehend it to the highest level and use it to break through the peak of Tao Monarch and reach a higher realm, I'll also be able to sense the changes in the cultivation technique. Hearing this, Yang Hongwu was really surprised and couldn't believe it. Chapter 1961. If I find out that you're up to something, I'll kill you even if I have to pay a huge price. Yang Hongwu's eyes flashed coldly as he looked at Tao Monarch Darkness. Don't worry, there won't be any other schemes. In fact, this little girl can be considered my disciple now. For someone at my level, it's very difficult to find a suitable successor. This little girl has the most suitable physique. It's a very happy thing for me to be able to find such a successor. When her cultivation reaches the Emperor realm, I'll give her a big gift. Tao Monarch Darkness said. Yang Hongwu's tone shocked Tao Monarch Darkness. He didn't doubt that if Yang Hongwu knew that he had ill intentions towards Anya Shenv, he would probably kill him. Tao Monarch Darkness even had a premonition. Even if his true body was sealed in this box, it wouldn't be able to stop Yang Hongwu. This seal should be easily broken. I hope you're telling the truth. Yang Hongwu glanced at him coldly, then reached out and grabbed the box. Where did you put this box that sealed me? If you make Zhiga lose his senses, he'll know. When that happens, don't blame me for not warning you if Zhiga has any ill intentions towards you. Although your current strength isn't bad, you can deal with ordinary sovereigns. If you face a Tao Monarch expert, you'll die. You can never imagine how terrifying a true Tao Monarch expert is. Only when you reach that level will you understand how terrifying a Tao Monarch expert is. Everyone below the Tao Monarch realm is an ant. No matter how strong your talent is, how strong you are below the Tao Monarch realm, and how many half-step Tao Monarchs you can deal with alone, it's meaningless. In the eyes of a Tao Monarch expert, you're all ants. They can kill you with a single breath. Tao Monarch Darkness said. Yang Hongwu was slightly taken aback when he heard this. It wasn't just Yang Hongwu. Even Pan and I and Anya Shenv were very surprised when they heard this. Although they knew that a Tao Monarch expert's strength was terrifying, it couldn't be to this extent, right? If that was really the case, then they were too powerful and inconceivable. That terrifying? Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. If you're really as terrifying as you say, this clone of yours should be able to kill us easily. Tao Monarch Darkness snorted and looked at Yang Hongwu. Do you think I'm lying? Impossible. If it wasn't for my true body and my clone's strength, do you think you'd be able to kill me so easily? In fact, if I wanted to kill you all, I would be able to do so. However, if I were to kill you all, I fear that bastard Zhiga would immediately appear and cause trouble for me. Tao Lord Darkness was extremely wary of Zhiga. In reality, he was extremely clear that this was, after all, the inner world of the self-defense Divine Palace. Inside each Divine Palace was a spatial world, and inside each Divine Palace, there was a sealed space. And there were even multiple experts. Moreover, the other party's cultivation was at least at the Tao Lord realm, and he was one of them. He wasn't the only one sealed in the Divine Palace. He wasn't the strongest. Many people who were much stronger than him were sealed in this Tao Monarch Divine Palace. For ordinary weak martial artists, this Tao Monarch Divine Palace was a holy land for cultivation. However, for experts like him who were imprisoned in the Tao Monarch Divine Palace, it was a prison. It was a prison that they couldn't escape from. He understood extremely clearly that if he truly wanted to escape from this prison, the difficulty would be too great, unless someone took action against self-defense and seized its self-defense Divine Palace. However, the possibility was very small. Who was Tao Monarch Divine Palace? He was one of the 4 supreme Tao Monarch. His strength was terrifying. Ordinary people couldn't imagine. If I'm not wrong, he should have noticed, Yang Hongwu said. Tao Monarch Darkness frowned. He looked at Yang Hongwu's expression and didn't seem to be lying. He couldn't help but ask, why do you say that? How can you be sure? Because Tao Monarch Divine Palace sent someone to test me. Moreover, in the second Tao Monarch Divine Palace, Yang Hongwu said, therefore, it's very likely that Tao Monarch Divine Palace has been paying attention to me. Now that you've come into contact with me, they've naturally noticed. There's nothing strange about this. Darkness Tao Monarch frowned and looked at Yang Hongwu. This brat's talent was too outstanding. His cultivation realm was only at the Imperial Emperor realm, but his strength and combat strength were extremely terrifying. He was able to fight against a sovereign realm expert with the cultivation of an early sovereign realm expert. Even a late sovereign realm expert or a half-step Tao Monarch expert might not be able to stop him. From this, one could see how terrifying this brat's talent was. Anyone would pay attention to such a monstrous talent. Everyone would be shocked. Although at Tao Monarch Divine Palace's level, he disdained to attack juniors who hadn't grown up yet, he could take them in as disciples. Even if he couldn't pass on his legacy, it was completely fine to take them in as disciples. If they could grow up, then wait. To have a peerless expert in their sect would be a huge boost for any major force. Generally speaking, for some experts, especially between different races, if their opponents had such a terrifyingly talented youngster, such a peerless genius, they would do everything they could to deal with them, or even pay a huge price to assassinate them. This was possible. Yes. This young man in front of him very likely had that kind of talent. Therefore, Tao Monarch Darkness guessed that this kid might be the target of Tao Monarch Divine Palace's nurturing. He might be one of his future successors. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was a preparatory successor. Tao Monarch Divine Palace had nurtured many experts. Among his disciples, there were quite a number of Tao Monarch. There were a total of 8 of them. These 8 people were all personally nurtured by Tao Monarch Divine Palace. Could it be that Yang Hongwu was the 9th disciple that he valued? Tao Monarch Darkness, who had once opposed Tao Monarch Darkness, knew very well how terrifying Tao Monarch Divine Palace's strength was. Back then, although Tao Monarch Divine Palace's weakest disciple wasn't his match, he was still able to escape from Tao Monarch Darkness. Chapter 1962. Even if you're valued, it's impossible for Zhiga to keep an eye on you all the time. In his eyes, you're at most a disciple candidate. Tao Monarch Darkness said, you think too highly of yourself. Even if you're talented, so what? There are too many talented people in the myriad world. You're just one of them. I've seen too many geniuses. In fact, there are very few who can truly become experts. Of course, such geniuses won't die if they're heavily nurtured. However, such experts can't become true experts without experiencing life and death battles. A true genius has to face endless slaughter. Only those geniuses who can constantly hover on the edge of life and death and protect their own lives can truly become experts. And this is just the beginning. Yang Hongwu looked at Tao Monarch Darkness. This guy's tone was getting more and more impolite. It was as if he was treating Yang Hongwu as an elder. Although Yang Hongwu was very unhappy, he had to admit that this guy's words were very correct. There was a long way for a genius to become an expert. Part of it depended on strength, and part of it depended on luck. Only those who had both strength and luck could grow. This luck also referred to the so-called destiny. Since you're not afraid of being discovered by Zhiga, I don't care. Anyway, an expert like Zhiga would never do anything to a nobody like me. Yang Hongwu smiled, not caring at all. He knew very well that Tao Monarch Darkness was very powerful. Dowlord was so powerful, and this was Dowlord Halberd's inner world. How could he not know who was doing what in his inner world? As long as he was willing, nothing in the entire sky-reaching continent could escape his eyes. Of course, he wouldn't pay attention to some small matters. With his strength reaching such a level, he disdained to monitor the martial arts of the sky-reaching continent. Generally speaking, if he wanted to know something about the actions of the cultivators, he could just deduce it directly. Unless it was someone with a special fate or someone whose strength surpassed the Dao Monarch realm, he wouldn't be able to deduce their whereabouts. Under normal circumstances, no one would be able to escape from his divination. This was because of strength. Of course, this could only be done in his inner world. If he was in the outside world, it would not be so easy for him to deduce others so easily. Little fellow, you don't have to test me. Dao Monarch Darkness smiled and said, even if you are Zhiga's true disciple, I don't need to worry. If Zhiga wanted to make a move against me, he would have done so long ago. He wouldn't just seal me here. In the past, Zhiga's strength was enough to kill me. However, I don't understand why he only sealed me here. At this point, Dao Lord Darkness paused and sighed. Perhaps that guy thinks that I'm not qualified to die in his hands. Thinking of this, Dao Monarch Darkness felt very helpless. He had to admit that the gap between his strength and Zhigu was too big. Although they were both Dao Monarchs, Zhigu seemed to have touched the legendary realm. At that level, it was truly terrifying. Forget it. I don't want to talk about this with you. I think your strength is not bad now. It shouldn't be too big of a problem for you to help me solve a problem, right? Yang Hongwu said. You want me to help you deal with that half-step Dao Monarch outside? Dao Monarch Darkness looked at Yang Hongwu and said. Dao Monarch Darkness understood Yang Hongwu's thoughts very well. After all, a Dao Monarch expert was like an old fox. However, how could he not see through Dao Monarch Darkness's thoughts? With your strength, it shouldn't be a problem for you to deal with a half-step Dao Monarch, right? Yang Hongwu looked at him and said. Although Yang Hongwu didn't have to pay any price to deal with Dao Monarch Darkness, Yang Hongwu knew very well that if Dao Monarch Darkness really wanted to fight to the death with him, he would really be in a lot of trouble. After all, this family was very powerful. This fellow's strength was truly terrifying. Although he had been sealed, once he unleashed his full power, a mere half-step Dao Lord might not necessarily be able to withstand him. Therefore, this was also Yang Hongwu's way of probing. You're thinking too much. If I was at my peak, I could easily kill 1,000 or 10,000 half-step Dao Monarchs, let alone a mere half-step Dao Monarch. Even if my strength was less than 10% and I was heavily injured, I could still easily do it. However, it's just an incarnation. Do you think I can do it? Dao Monarch Darkness rolled his eyes. This kid really thought that half-step Dao Monarchs were trash that he could casually crush. You definitely have a way. Yang Hongwu looked at him and said. Even if I did, why should I give it to you? Dao Monarch Darkness said. Our deal doesn't include helping you deal with your enemy. You will agree. Yang Hongwu smiled faintly. At that moment, Yang Hongwu waved his hand and placed a seal in the box that sealed his true body. This time, Dao Monarch Darkness's eyes widened. He was shocked. He was very clear about the power of the box that sealed his real body. Although it looked like a box, there was actually a world inside the box. However, in this world, there was only one thing that was different from the real world. Moreover, the space inside the box was very large, but there was no trace of spiritual qi. The reason why he had paid a huge price to tear open a crack and let an incarnation out was not only for freedom, but also to absorb spiritual qi from the outside world to continuously restore his natural true body. Otherwise, if he couldn't replenish his spiritual qi, his true body would sooner or later be greatly weakened due to the continuous loss of energy in his body. He might even die. Being killed by an expert wasn't scary. What was scary was dying so sullenly and being trapped alive. This was the most speechless thing. As a Tao monarch expert, this was a kind of humiliation. What shocked him the most was that Yang Hongwu was actually able to repair a crack in his seal so easily. This was simply too unbelievable. One had to know that this seal had been personally placed by Tao Lord Zhiga, and he had paid a huge price for it. Chapter 1963. Kid, how did you do it? He had to admit that this kid was too strange. Tao Monarch Darkness was truly shocked. How I did it isn't important. The important thing is, do you agree to my conditions? Yang Hongwu looked at Tao Lord Darkness. I agree to help you deal with that old ancestor Qianshan outside. However, you have to open this seal a little for me. Tao Lord Darkness looked at Yang Hongwu and said. In fact, he really wanted Yang Hongwu to open the seal completely. However, he hesitated. Firstly, Yang Hongwu might not agree to it. Secondly, even if Yang Hongwu agreed to it, he didn't have the confidence to face Zhigu. If Zhigu was enraged, he would be beaten to death. He wouldn't be able to reason with Zhigu. I can change the seal a little and allow you to establish a connection with your incarnation. Yang Hongwu looked at him and said, however, you have to help me deal with that guy outside the formation. If you can't do it, don't blame me. You're welcome. This was definitely a threat. However, Tao Lord Darkness couldn't do anything about it. When had he ever been threatened like this? Even Tao Lord Zhigu had never threatened him like this. However, Tao Lord Darkness couldn't refute it. There was nothing he could do about it. It was too frustrating. Alright. In fact, you have the strength to deal with that guy, right? Tao Lord Darkness asked. That has nothing to do with you. Besides, now that you can help me solve the problem, I won't have to waste so much effort. Yang Hongwu said. Indeed, if he used the entire Black Evil Town as the eye of the formation and used the formation to fight with the other party, then there would be a way to deal with that guy. However, Yang Hongwu didn't want to delay any longer. Since he had obtained what he wanted, it was time to get down to business, which was to enter the Black Evil Abyss and find his place. The planar boat was the most important thing. Everything else had to be put aside. If it hadn't been for the fact that the Black Fiend Patriarch had already reached the edge of the Black Fiend Abyss, Yang Hongwu wouldn't have wanted to deal with the Qianshan Patriarch first. After all, this fellow was a half-step Tao Lord. If it wasn't for the fact that the Black Fiend Patriarch was about to arrive, Lin Fan would have ignored the Patriarch and entered the Black Fiend Abyss. In order to prevent the two from joining forces, Yang Hongwu had to deal with one of them first. After all, even if the Qianshan ancestor and the Black Fiend ancestor teamed up, they might not be able to defeat Yang Hongwu. However, they would still cause him a lot of trouble and delay him. This puppet talisman is for you. It should be enough for you to deal with that guy. At this moment, Tao Monarch Darkness took out a box. This box contained an extremely domineering and murderous aura. It was an extremely violent and dark aura. This aura caused people's souls to tremble. Terrifying, too terrifying. What kind of puppet is this? How can it be so terrifying? Anya Shenv couldn't help but tremble after sensing the terrifying aura from the box. This is the Heavenly Annihilation Spider. Tao Monarch Darkness said. I paid a great price to capture this Heavenly Annihilation Spider and refine it into a puppet. Unfortunately, this puppet talisman has been used many times and has consumed a lot of energy. I can only use it one more time. Of course, it shouldn't be too much of a problem against a half-step Tao Lord. Yang Hongwu looked at Tao Lord Darkness in astonishment. This fellow was actually willing to take out such a treasure. However, why didn't he take out the Heavenly Annihilation Spider when he was being suppressed by Yang Hongwu? There's another problem with this Heavenly Annihilation Spider. It can easily cause people to fall into a demonic state. Kid, you have to be careful. This Heavenly Annihilation Spider talisman might be powerful, but if you're not careful, you might be affected by the remnant will of the spider and even be robbed. Don't blame me for this. I'm here to warn you. Tao Monarch Darkness thought for a moment and said. He didn't want to say it at first, but after hesitating for a moment, he still decided to warn Yi Shiwen. If this guy really fell into a demonic state due to the remnant soul of the heavenly annihilation spider, he would be in big trouble. Yes, he was sealed. Moreover, Yang Hongwu had a way to completely seal him and kill this clone of his. That would be too risky for him. Therefore, for safety's sake, it was better to warn Yi Shiwen. There's still the remnant soul of the heavenly annihilation spider? It's not a threat to me. With that, Yang Hongwu opened the box. Upon seeing this, Tao Lord Darkness was completely speechless. This kid really was confident in himself. He didn't care about the Heaven Devastation spider at all. The Heaven Devastation spider wasn't a half-step Tao Lord. Back when Tao Lord Darkness had slain the Heaven Devastation spider, Tao Lord Darkness had slain it. When Yi Shiwen killed it, he had to pay a huge price to refine it into a puppet talisman. It was a Tao Lord-level heavenly annihilation spider with terrifying strength. Even though the puppet talisman of the heavenly annihilation spider had consumed a lot of energy and was already broken, its power was still very terrifying. Moreover, countless cultivators had died in this puppet talisman. After being stained with blood, the evil qi of this remnant soul had become quite terrifying. Even Tao Monarch Darkness was a little worried. However, he remembered that Yang Hongwu did have something that could restrain the remnant soul of the heavenly annihilation spider. That was the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. His karmic fire of the Red Lotus could perfectly restrain the remnant soul of the heavenly annihilation spider. Evil Qi. After Yang Hongwu opened the box, a black light instantly rushed out. This black light appeared in the air and turned into a talisman. This talisman kept floating and flashing with a terrifying aura. This puppet talisman wanted to fly away, but it was restrained by an invisible force. Come here. Yang Hongwu reached out and grabbed the talisman. A force erupted from his hand and instantly suppressed the puppet talisman. The evil qi dissipated in an instant. This move made Tao Monarch Darkness have a whole new level of respect for him. This kid was indeed very powerful. He didn't know what other strange and powerful trump cards this kid had. Fortunately, he didn't take the risk to control this kid. Otherwise, he would be in trouble now. Too big. Chapter 1964. However, it would be a pity if the talisman was destroyed after just one use. After all, the puppet talisman would be a Tao Lord Realm puppet once it was restored to its peak. However, it would require a lot of resources and a lot of time to fully repair it. What did Yang Hongwu lack the most right now? It was time. However, even though he couldn't completely repair the Heavenly Destruction Spider's puppet talisman, he could at least restore it slightly so that it wouldn't be destroyed after just one use. At the thought of this, Yang Hongwu infused a stream of creation energy into the talisman. The moment the creation energy entered the puppet talisman, the original ferocious aura started to fade away. Of course, after Yang Hongwu infused the creation energy into the talisman, he completely refined it and planted his spiritual imprint on it. Unless the puppet talisman broke through its shackles and surpassed the creation realm, it wouldn't be able to break free even if it broke through to the Tao Lord realm. Go! Yang Hongwu released the talisman and it instantly turned into a huge beast. This beast was the Heavenly Destruction Spider. The Heavenly Destruction Spider nodded at Yang Hongwu and disappeared. In the next moment, it appeared outside the formation of Black Fiend Town. What's that? Patriarch Qianshan, who was attacking the formation, was shocked when he saw the Heavenly Destruction Spider. This behemoth had a terrifyingly powerful aura. Even a half-step Tao Lord like him was suppressed by it. Terrifying. Truly terrifying. What kind of beast is this? Patriarch Qianshan had never seen such a powerful beast before. He didn't have any information about it in his mind. However, the ferocious beast before him was charging at him menacingly. Old Ancestor Qianqian's face was extremely grim. He knew that he was in big trouble this time. This terrifying beast was obviously coming for him. Black Fiend Patriarch. He kept retreating and stopped attacking the formation. If no one came to disturb him, he would be able to break the formation in less than 15 minutes. However, such a powerful beast had appeared at this moment. Moreover, it seemed to be coming for him. Therefore, he had no choice but to contact the Black Fiend Patriarch in the face of such a terrifying beast. The formation has been broken? The Black Demon Patriarch's voice came from the messaging charm. I've arrived as well. I'll attack the formation soon. It's been a long time since we've worked together. I'd like to see who has the guts to attack my Black Demon town. No, I'm telling you that I'm in trouble. The other party is really terrifying. Patriarch Qianqian said, I've encountered a terrifying beast. A beast that I've never seen before. It's no weaker than the Heavenly Ancestor. What? The Black Fiend Patriarch's face changed. The other party's strength was so terrifying. It was just a beast, but it was comparable to the Heavenly Ancestor. He knew very well what kind of person the Heavenly Ancestor was. It was said that the Heavenly Ancestor's strength had reached the level of a Tao Lord. However, he did not want to leave the Heavenly Ancestor, so he suppressed his cultivation and did not break through. It could be said that the Heavenly Ancestor was the undisputed number one in the Heavenly Ancestor. What kind of beast could cause the Patriarch Qianqian to be so afraid? It was an existence that was comparable to the Heavenly Ancestor. In fact, the Heavenly Annihilation Spider wasn't that strong. However, after Yang Hongwu added that strand of creation qi, the beast became extremely terrifying and its strength increased by another level. Of course, it was still a far cry from the Heavenly Annihilation Spider at its peak. However, no one below the level of a Tao Lord could defeat it easily. After all, the level of a Tao Lord was on a completely different level from that of a Tao Lord. Therefore, I'm afraid that I can't join forces with you. Unless you can come out now and join forces with me to kill this beast, there's no other way. The Patriarch Qianqian said, Moreover, even if we join forces, we won't be able to defeat it. This beast is probably just a battle beast of the other party. If a mere battle beast is already so terrifying, how strong would the other party be? Do I have to give up just like that? The Black Fiend Patriarch was unwilling to give up. Black Fiend Town was a base that he had built many years ago. Moreover, there was a huge secret under Black Fiend Town that was related to the secret of the entire Black Fiend Abyss. It was said that the secret of Heavenly Annihilation Tao Lord was under Black Fiend Town. Although he had not found it after so many years, he had never given up. In truth, there was an ancient stele at the very center of Black Fiend Town. That ancient stele had been sealed by him, and it was rumored that it was the foundation of Tao Lord Heaven Fiend's legacy. The entire Black Fiend Town was built with that ancient stele as its core. No, I won't give up. So what if the other party is strong? At this moment, the Black Demon Patriarch's face turned ferocious. Help me restrain that beast. What are you trying to do? The Patriarch Qianqian's face changed when he heard this. However, he had no time to talk to the Black Fiend Patriarch. The Heavenly Annihilation Spider was already charging towards him. Its legs were like terrifying sickles that pierced towards him. If he was hit, he would be severely injured even if he didn't die. He had no choice but to dodge. In the face of such a terrifying beast, he didn't have any strength to fight back. He could only defend himself and retreat continuously. At this moment, he could guess what the Black Fiend Patriarch was thinking. The Black Fiend Patriarch probably wanted to break the barrier between Black Fiend Town and Black Fiend Abyss. If this barrier was broken, it would be troublesome. The entire Black Fiend town, and even the entire sky-reaching land would be filled with the terrifying fiendish aura. How did the heavenly annihilation spider become stronger? Tao Lord Darkness, who was looking at the heavenly annihilation spider in Black Fiend town, was very surprised. The heavenly annihilation spider shouldn't be this strong, but it should be more ferocious. However, the heavenly annihilation spider's ferocious aura wasn't as terrifying as he had imagined. Instead, its combat strength was much stronger than he had expected. Chapter 1965. Bastards, you forced me to do this. At this time, the Black Fiend Patriarch had already arrived at the entrance of Black Fiend Town and Black Fiend Abyss. Looking at the sealed formation, a cold light flashed in his eyes. He took out something in his hand. That thing was thrown out and instantly exploded. The barrier between Black Fiend Town and Black Fiend Abyss seemed to have been hit by a terrible force. Even the space instantly shattered. The entire Black Demon Town trembled. Damn it! Yang Hongwu didn't expect that the space between Black Demon Town and Black Demon Abyss would shatter. The Black Demon Patriarch had made a move. How ruthless! Yang Hongwu couldn't help but be surprised. The evil Black Ancestor was so vicious that he actually destroyed this space. He must have paid a hefty price to do so. The space of the sky-reaching continent was extremely sturdy, but now it had been destroyed. Edited by Lifer Fingerfox. What's going on? The people of Black Evil Town were alarmed to find that the barrier between Black Evil Town and Black Evil Abyss had been broken. Terrifying evil chi instantly rushed into Black Evil Town. It didn't take long for the entire Black Evil Town to be shrouded in evil chi. Outside Black Demon Town, Qianshan Patriarch was being beaten back by the destructive heavenly spider. However, he also noticed the changes in Black Demon Town. The formation of Black Demon Town had disappeared. After the terrifying evil chi shrouded the entire town, he knew very well that this was the Black Demon Patriarch's move. He didn't expect that the Black Demon Patriarch would really do it. For the entire Heavenspan lands, this was a huge blow. At least, the area within 10,000 miles of Black Demon Town would be greatly affected. Moreover, the impact would continue to spread. Black Demon Patriarch. At this moment, a sturdy old man came out. His eyes were like a terrifying blade, extremely terrifying. He stared at Yang Hongwu. After coming out, the Black Demon Patriarch knew who his opponent was. It was Yang Hongwu, a mere Sovereign Emperor Realm martial artist. Moreover, he was only an early-stage Sovereign Emperor Realm brat who had not even reached the Sovereign Realm, had actually forced him to such an extent. He was filled with hatred towards Yang Hongwu. It was all because of this brat that he had to blame everything on this brat. If not for him, Yi Qingyu would still be in the Black Fiend Abyss, searching for an opportunity to break through. However, it was precisely because he had killed one of Yi Qingyu's incarnations that Yi Qingyu failed on the verge of success and even suffered a backlash. Even without Yang Hongwu, he might not have succeeded in killing his clone. However, his strength would definitely have risen to a whole new level. However, Yang Hongwu had killed his clone, so not only did his strength fail to rise, he even suffered from a backlash. He was quite injured, and his cultivation dropped by quite a bit. Because of this, he had used up the favor Patriarch Qianshan owed him, and paid a great price. A single favor wasn't enough to make Patriarch Qianshan give up on his seclusion and come out. Yi Qingyu had even given Patriarch Qianshan a supreme divine herb as a reward. If not for that, Patriarch Qianshan would have left long ago instead of fighting against that terrifying beast. Black Fiend Patriarch, come and help me! Patriarch Qianshan hurriedly shouted when he saw the Black Fiend Patriarch appear. The Black Demon Old Ancestor glanced at the ferocious beast that the Qianshan Old Ancestor was trying to fend off. His face changed slightly. That ferocious beast was truly terrifying. It was actually suppressing the Qianshan old ancestor to the point where he could barely breathe. At this moment, he really wanted to kill young Hongwu. However, he restrained himself because he couldn't see through this brat. It wasn't because of his cultivation, but because this brat was too mysterious. Although his cultivation was only at the Emperor realm, he had such a terrifying beast. Furthermore, he didn't panic at all when he saw the Black Fiend Patriarch appear. In fact, he was even absorbing the surrounding baleful aura. The baleful aura in the surroundings didn't affect him at all. Instead, it was being refined by him. Just this point alone was extremely frightening. Although he could also absorb the baleful aura, he couldn't do it as recklessly as Yang Hongwu. Moreover, Patriarch Qianshan had already asked him for help. If he ignored Patriarch Qianshan and didn't help him, Patriarch Qianshan would probably turn around and leave. At that time, he wouldn't be able to fight against that terrifying beast alone. "Little bastard, you'll die after I deal with that beast." The Black Fiend Patriarch glared at Yang Hongwu and said coldly. After saying that, he rushed towards the Heavenly Destruction Spider. "Young Master, what should we do now?" Tai Tulong asked. Now, the Black Demon Patriarch had risked universal condemnation and destroyed the barrier between the Black Demon Abyss and the sky-reaching land, releasing the evil chi of the entire Black Demon Abyss. If this matter spread out, it would be a huge blow to the Black Demon Patriarch. If this barrier was not repaired, perhaps the Black Demon Patriarch would become the enemy of the entire sky-reaching land. Let's wait and see. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. The Black Fiend Patriarch and Patriarch Qianshan were both half-step Tao Lords. Their strength was indeed terrifying. However, he wasn't afraid because the Heavenly Destruction Spider's puppet talisman was at its peak. Therefore, Yang Hongwu wasn't too worried. In fact, Yang Hongwu didn't want to give up on the talisman. Otherwise, he could enter the Black Fiend Abyss directly. After entering the Black Fiend Abyss, the Heavenly Destruction Spider could hold back Patriarch Qianshan and Patriarch Black Fiend. Therefore, leaving wouldn't be a problem. However, it would be a pity if a puppet with the potential to become a Tao Lord was destroyed just like that. That was why Yang Hongwu wanted to see if there was a way to take the Heavenly Annihilation Spider away. Originally, Ancestor Qianshan was being suppressed by the Heavenly Destruction Spider. If this continued, Ancestor Qianshan would definitely be severely injured. If he continued to fight, he might even be killed. After all, he was only a half-step Tao Lord and not a true Tao Lord. He could still be killed in front of a powerful opponent. However, he was not like a Tao Lord who could not be killed. "Young Master, why don't you let the three of us go? If we join forces with the puppet, we can still fight against the Black Fiend Patriarch and Patriarch Qianshan. The tribe is at a disadvantage," Tai Tulong said. Yang Hongwu shook his head. "There's no need. Let's go." He wanted to give it a try. However, after thinking about it, they wouldn't be able to kill the Heavenly Destruction Spider in a short period of time. As long as the Heavenly Destruction Spider received his command, it could leave immediately. Seeing Yang Hongwu trying to escape, the Black Fiend Patriarch's expression changed. He wasn't willing to let Yang Hongwu go. Chapter 1966. That little bastard is about to escape. Old Ancestor Qianshan, help me restrain the spider. I'll go catch that little bastard. Old Ancestor Black Demon said. Don't chase. Old Ancestor Qianshan's face changed. Now that Yang Hongwu was about to leave, the heaven-destroying spider would naturally become stronger and launch more attacks. If Old Ancestor Qianshan was alone, he wouldn't be able to defend against it. Even if he wouldn't be killed, he would definitely be severely injured. He wasn't willing to pay such a huge price just to delay the heaven-destroying spider. Hold on for a while. Old Ancestor Qianshan, you just need to hold on for 20 breaths. 20 breaths and I'll be able to catch that little bastard. Old Ancestor Black Demon said. No, it's too dangerous. Let alone 20 breaths, even 10 breaths is too much. Old Ancestor Qianshan shook his head. As long as you help me stall for time, I'll give you a Tao-grade divine pill. Old Ancestor Black Demon gritted his teeth and said, Tao-grade divine pill? Old Ancestor Qianshan's eyes lit up. You have a Tao-grade divine pill? He didn't believe it. A Tao-grade divine pill was extremely rare. A Tao-grade divine pill could help a half-step Tao Lord increase the chances of breaking through to the Tao Lord realm. Generally speaking, the chances of breaking through to the Tao Lord realm were too low. However, if one had a Tao pill, the chances of breaking through would increase to 50%. That was a 50% chance. This was already a very high probability. If it was just a Tao core, then many people would be willing to pay a huge price. After all, for them, the success rate of breaking through to the Tao Lord realm was less than 20%. On the other hand, a Tao core could increase the probability of success from 20% to 50%. This probability was quite high. Of course, no one in the sky-reaching continent could refine a Tao pill. True Tao pills would only appear in some ancient ruins or secret realms. This Tao core should be very important to the Black Demon Patriarch. Why would he pay such a huge price to stall the heavenly destroying spider? This made Old Ancestor Qianshan suspicious. After all, this was a Tao pill, not an ordinary pill. Even an ordinary peerless divine medicine couldn't compare to a Tao pill. If it was anyone else, it was absolutely impossible for them to give up such a medicinal pill, unless they had more than one Tao pill. Although he had some doubts, the temptation of Tao pills was too great. All right, I promise you. As soon as Qianshan Patriarch finished speaking, the Black Demon Patriarch quickly teleported towards Yang Hongwu. His speed was extremely shocking. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Yang Hongwu and the others, blocking their way. Looking at how the Black Demon Grandmaster was behaving, Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. Seemed like this old man had a huge grudge against him. He actually ignored the heavenly destruction spider and directly came to find trouble with him. Moreover, he should have used a talisman just now. Moreover, it was a very powerful spatial talisman. Otherwise, he would definitely have sensed it. To be able to appear in front of him without him noticing, it could be seen that the grade of this talisman was definitely not bad. Little B** starred, go to hell. The Black Demon Patriarch grabbed at Yang Hongwu and the others, his eyes filled with killing intent. On the other side, Qianshan Patriarch was holding back the heavenly destruction spider. Even though he wasn't a match for the Black Demon Patriarch and was being suppressed badly, he still managed to hold back the heavenly destruction spider so that it couldn't come to his aid. However, Yang Hongwu wasn't afraid. Even though the Black Demon Patriarch was strong and was a half-step Tao Lord, his state of mind was in a mess right now. Furthermore, he must have suffered a backlash after his clone was killed by Yang Hongwu earlier on. Therefore, he wasn't at his peak state right now. Even if he was at his peak state, Yang Hongwu wouldn't be afraid. Young Master, let us hold him back. Tai Tulong looked at the Black Demon Patriarch and knew that this was an unavoidable battle. Since it was unavoidable, they had to fight. At this moment, Tai Tulong's battle intent was blazing. So was Shan Hai Guanyue. They had never fought a half-step Tao Lord head-on before. They knew that half-step Tao Lords were extremely strong, but they had never tried it out. Now that they were going to fight a half-step Tao Lord head-on, they were looking forward to it. He wanted to see for himself just how powerful a half-step Tao Lord was. Here are 2 pills. They can restore your cultivation base to your peak state. Yang Hongwu took out 2 pills. These pills were extremely precious. Yang Hongwu had specially refined them for use at a critical moment after entering the Black Fiend Abyss. However, since they were already at this stage, there was no harm in using them. As for the pills, he could refine them at any time. It would just take some time. It wasn't a big problem at all. Thank you, young master. Seeing young Hongwu take out such a pill, one could tell that it was a peerless god pill. No one in the sky-reaching continent could concoct such a pill. Therefore, peerless god pills were extremely precious. The two of them didn't hesitate to consume the pills. They weren't worried that Yang Hongwu would plot against them. If Yang Hongwu wanted to deal with them, he wouldn't have to resort to such means. After consuming the pills, their auras instantly rose and returned to their peak state. Moreover, they were only a step away from becoming half-step Tao Lords. Black Fiend Old Ghost, your time has come. How dare you attack the young master? You're courting death. Tai Tulong and the other two shouted and charged towards the Black Fiend Patriarch. Humph, ants. The Black Fiend Patriarch was surprised to see both Tai Tulong and Mountain Sea Watcher's auras reach new heights, but he wasn't afraid. He was a half-step Tao Lord. Although these two had reached the late-stage hegemon level and were only a step away from peak-stage hegemons, they still weren't strong enough to deal with him. The difference between half-step Tao Lords and hegemons wasn't that great, but that small difference was enough to make a huge difference in combat power. The Black Fiend Patriarch clenched his fist and punched out. An incomparably strong fist energy flew towards the three of them. He didn't have much time. The three of them were strong enough to pin him down. Therefore, the Black Fiend Patriarch's goal wasn't to kill Tai Tulong and the other two, but to force them back and then capture Yang Hongwu. That was his goal. However, was Yang Hongwu that easy to capture? Tai Tulong and the other two didn't know the Black Fiend Patriarch's goal. Seeing the Black Fiend Patriarch's aggressive aura, they instantly dodged the attack. However, they didn't expect that the Black Fiend Patriarch would turn around and charge towards Yang Hongwu. Little bastard, your time has come. Chapter 1967. Yang Hongwu sneered. Old geezer, you're not strong enough to deal with me. A half-step Tao Lord is far from enough. With that, Yang Hongwu used the Void Traversal technique and instantly disappeared. This time, he easily dodged the Black Demon Patriarch's attack. This scene caused the Black Demon Patriarch's eyes to widen in disbelief. This brat was able to dodge his attack with ease. This was the Tao of spatial teleportation. This little animal had a lot of escape methods. Moreover, he wasn't alone but could bring others with him. This wasn't simple at all. He had a teleportation talisman so he could bring others with him. However, he could only bring one person with him. More than one person would be affected and their location would deviate. In the worst-case scenario, they might even get lost in the void. That would be troublesome. Little animal, I was careless. I didn't expect you to have a teleportation talisman. However, these talismans are extremely precious. How many do you have? The forefather lunged for Yang Hongwu's group again. This time, he used his powerful energy to seal off the surrounding space. The surrounding space had been sealed. As long as there was a slight spatial fluctuation, he would be able to sense it and chase after it instantly. Yang Hongwu chuckled. You can try. I can teleport at will. However, Qianshan Ancestor won't be able to stop it. When he dies, you'll die too. Don't be arrogant, little animal. It's easy to catch you. I'll deal with that beast after I catch you and deal with you. The Black Demon Old Ancestor was also very anxious. Yang Hongwu was right. Although Qianshan Old Ancestor was strong, he was not a match for the destructive Heavenly Spider alone. If this continued, Qianshan Old Ancestor would really be in danger of dying. Once he encountered such danger, Qianshan Old Ancestor would not risk his life to resist the destructive Heavenly Spider. Once Qianshan Old Ancestor escaped, he would definitely not be able to resist the destructive Heavenly Spider alone. Therefore, he did not have much time, only 20 breaths. Now, almost 10 breaths had passed. This meant that he only had one chance left. Seal. The Black Fiend Patriarch took out another treasure. It was a sealing bead that could seal off an area of space. It was so powerful that it could even seal a Tao Lord expert. He had used it when he was in the Black Fiend realm. This was one of the most precious treasures he obtained from the Abyss. He obtained 3 supreme treasures from a ruin in Black Fiend Abyss. One of them was a Tao core. The second was this sealing bead. After using the Forbidden Pearl once, it would run out of energy and would not be able to be used for 10,000 years. However, it was still very powerful. Once it sealed space, even a half-step Tao Lord would not be able to escape. It could even seal Tao Lord Jinjin. Tao Lord. This sealing bead was one of his greatest trump cards. He wouldn't use it unless it was a critical moment. Originally, he didn't plan to use this supreme treasure. If he wasn't so angry, he wouldn't have taken it out. He knew very well that if he didn't capture or kill Yang Hongwu now, he would develop inner demons and his thoughts wouldn't be clear. He would never have the chance to break through the bottleneck and enter the Tao Lord realm. Because of this, he had no choice. That was why he had paid such a huge price to capture Yang Hongwu and kill him at all costs. Not good. The moment the Black Fiend Patriarch used the sealing bead, Yang Hongwu felt a great sense of danger. As expected, when he wanted to use the Void Travel secret technique to teleport out, it was already too late. Yang Hongwu didn't think too much about it. With a thought, he kept the 2 women in his common people's great world. The 2 women's strength was definitely not enough to deal with the Black Fiend Patriarch. After all, he was a half-step Tao Lord. Little bastard, you can't escape now, right? Seeing Yang Hongwu's expression change drastically, he sensed that Yang Hongwu wanted to teleport away. However, the space was sealed by him. Even a Tao Lord couldn't escape, let alone a mere Emperor Realm martial artist. How could an Emperor Realm martial artist escape? Old thing, do you think you can defeat me by sealing this space? Yang Hongwu looked at the Black Demon Patriarch. He had to admit that after this old man sealed this space, he couldn't even leave. This made Yang Hongwu a little worried. After all, his 9 Heavens Divine Dragon technique had already reached an extremely high level. In addition, his cultivation base had already reached the Imperial Emperor realm. Although he was still far from reaching the Sovereign realm, his cultivation base had already reached the Imperial Emperor realm. After reaching the Emperor realm, it could be said that no one below the Tao Lord realm could threaten him. However, this time, his Void Travel secret technique had failed. In the past, it was understandable that he had failed to travel through space due to his lack of strength. However, this time, his failure brought him the greatest danger. This was because there was a terrifying enemy in this space, a half-step Tao Lord. Kid, use whatever tricks you have. Today, you'll definitely die. The Black Fiend Patriarch said coldly. Yang Hongwu looked at the Black Fiend Patriarch and said, I'm curious. Why would you pay such a huge price to kill me? You must have paid a great price to seal this space, right? Moreover, you asked Old Ancestor Qianxian to block my puppet talisman. To Old Ancestor Qianxian, this is a great danger. He might even lose his life. Even if he doesn't die, he will be seriously injured. If you don't have enough benefits, he won't agree. The hatred between us is far from enough. Even if your own son, your own parents, and your entire clan were wiped out by me, it wouldn't be enough for you to pay such a huge price, let alone a mere descendant and an incarnation. What Yang Hongwu said was true. When one's cultivation base reached the Black Demon Patriarch's level, they would never care about familial ties. Based on the Black Demon Patriarch's baleful aura and ferocious aura, one could tell what cultivation technique he cultivated. There was no such thing as family ties. As for the death of an incarnation, it was true that he wouldn't pay such a huge price. However, Yang Hongwu soon understood. This old man was at a critical juncture in his breakthrough. Killing his incarnation had probably hindered his breakthrough. Moreover, there seemed to be some secret in Black Fiend Town that was the key to his breakthrough. Therefore, Lin Fan had probably ruined his breakthrough. His fortuitous encounter made it impossible for him to break through. Therefore, he hated Yi Futian to the core and wanted to kill him no matter the cost. Chapter 1968. What surprised the Black Fiend Patriarch the most was that his attack had struck Yang Hongwu directly. It was as if Yang Hongwu could not resist at all. Under the full force of the Black Fiend Patriarch's attack, Yang Hongwu's body vanished into thin air and turned into nothingness. He died so easily? The Black Fiend Patriarch stared at Yang Hongwu's disappearing figure in disbelief. He had a bad feeling. Yang Hongwu had many trump cards, but he had been killed so easily. The Black Fiend Patriarch could not believe that he had been killed so easily. If it had been an ordinary emperor, it was possible that he would have been turned into dust by such a powerful attack. This was very normal. However, Yang Hongwu was too strong. He had been able to fight against the Black Fiend Patriarch earlier. Now, he had been killed with a single attack. Naturally, the Black Fiend Patriarch could not believe it. Black Fiend Patriarch, come and help me. I can't hold on any longer, Patriarch Qianshan shouted from the other side. At this moment, the Black Fiend Patriarch could not care less. After all, he had locked onto Yang Hongwu's aura. Moreover, this space had been completely sealed. No one could escape. Furthermore, there was no trace of Yang Hongwu's aura in this space. This proved that he had indeed been killed. Furthermore, Patriarch Qianshan was indeed being suppressed to the point that he could not breathe. If he did not go over now, Patriarch Qianshan might very well be killed. In fact, the Black Fiend Patriarch had originally planned to kill Patriarch Qianshan after he had dealt with Yang Hongwu. This was because he did not want to hand over the Dao core that he had obtained with great difficulty to Patriarch Qianshan. That was for him to break through to the Dao realm. He had prepared it for the Monarch realm. However, if Patriarch Qianshan were to fight the heaven-destroying spider head-on and be killed by the heaven-destroying spider, the Black Fiend Patriarch was not confident that he could kill the heaven-destroying spider alone. Therefore, he had to join forces with Patriarch Qianshan to kill the heaven-destroying spider first. Only the heaven-destroying spider. After killing the heaven-destroying spider, he would kill Patriarch Qianshan. His thoughts and calculations were good. However, as good as they were, reality was cruel. He would not get what he wanted. When he removed the spatial seal and saw a person in the outside world, he was stunned. This was simply unbelievable. That was Yang Hongwu. He actually didn't die. Impossible, you? He looked at Yang Hongwu pointing at him, his hand trembling. He was completely stunned. Old thing, I've said it before. You're not qualified to kill me. You won't be able to kill me. Yang Hongwu sneered. Although your strength is not bad, you still haven't reached the Dao Monarch realm. If you were a Dao Monarch realm expert, then perhaps? He really is capable of killing me, but a mere half-step Dao Lord won't be able to. Black Fiend Patriarch, come and help. At this moment, old ancestor Qianshan cried for help again. He was already injured. If this continued, he would be seriously injured. Ancestor Qianshan, hold him back for a while longer. I'll come after killing this little bastard. After hearing this, the Black Fiend Patriarch's eyes flashed coldly. He was furious. If he didn't kill Yang Hongwu, he wouldn't be able to get rid of his thoughts. Yang Hongwu had completely become his heart demon. His eyes turned red as he glared at Yang Hongwu. Little bastard, I don't care how you escaped or how you avoided my attack. But now you must die. If I don't kill you, I'm not the Black Fiend Patriarch. After letting out a roar, the evil black ancestor's aura surged violently. He was like a devil from the 9 Serenities hell. He rushed towards Yang Hongwu in a menacing manner. Everything in his path was destroyed. His strength was terrifying. His entire being had transformed into a giant beast. This was a sign that he was about to turn into a demon. In the distance, old ancestor Qianxian, who was bitterly resisting the heaven-destroying spider, saw this scene and his expression changed. He never expected that the Black Fiend Patriarch would lose his mind and turn into a demon. How was he supposed to fight now? Once the Black Fiend Patriarch turned into a demon, it wouldn't do him any good. Even if he killed this terrifying beast, he wouldn't be able to get his hands on that Dao core. Damn it! Old ancestor Qianxian cursed in his heart. Since there was no point in continuing the fight with the heaven-destroying spider, there was no need for him to stay and fight anymore. At the thought of this, the old ancestor Qianxian gritted his teeth and took out a talisman. The talisman shone brightly and enveloped him within it. In the next moment, the old ancestor Qianxian was transported away. After receiving Yang Hongwu's orders, the heaven-destroying spider did not chase after the old ancestor Qianxian. To the old ancestor Qianxian, this was a huge loss. Not only was he injured, but he had also used up a few of his trump cards. Even worse, he couldn't get what he wanted. That was a Dao core. It was a pity that there was no way he could get it now. Unless the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch and that brat were both severely injured, or if he was severely injured after killing that brat, he would have a chance to kill the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch and snatch that Dao core. Therefore, even though the old ancestor Qianxian had retreated and left the battlefield, he was still observing from afar. He did not leave for real because of this. Instead, he was looking for an opportunity. Naturally, the old ancestor Qianxian's observation from afar couldn't escape Yang Hongwu's eyes. Furthermore, Yang Hongwu knew what the old ancestor Qianxian was thinking. This old thing wanted to be a fisherman. He wanted to reap the benefits after both Lin Fan and the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch were injured. However, there was no such thing as a free lunch in this world. Yang Hongwu's lips curled into a smile. To him, the most important thing right now was to deal with the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch. Previously, he was almost tricked by the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch. One should know that the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch's forbidden pearl was indeed terrifying. Once it sealed the space, even he couldn't escape. This forbidden pearl really made Yang Hongwu very jealous. It was too powerful. If he hadn't been careful and used the 1 Qi into 3 Pure One's secret technique to leave a clone in the outside world, he would have been killed by the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch. After knowing that he couldn't break out of the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch's space, Yang Hongwu immediately used the 1 Qi into 3 Pure One's secret technique to switch between his original body and his clone. His original body was switched to the outside world, while his clone appeared in the space of the Forbidden Pearl. It was killed by the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch and turned into nothingness. Although Yang Hongwu had to pay a hefty price, it wasn't too great. It was completely acceptable. Wretched Black Fiend Patriarch, it's time for you to die. A cold light shot out from Yang Hongwu's eyes. The destructive heavenly spider charged forward ferociously and clashed with the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch. After exiting the Forbidden Pearl, Yang Hongwu had already set up another formation. At this moment, the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch was facing the encirclement of Yang Hongwu and the others. One of them was the destructive heavenly spider, which was the main force. The other was Tai Tulong and the other two. Although their strength hadn't reached the half-step Dao Lord realm, their combat strength was still very strong. Their strength couldn't be underestimated. Chapter 1969. At this moment, the fiend Black Ancestor had lost his mind. Even though he could sense the danger, he didn't care about it at all. He attacked crazily as though he didn't care about his life anymore. Humph! Yang Hongwu sneered. Although this old man's strength had increased after he turned into a demon and he was infinitely close to the realm of Dao Lord, in fact, the threat he posed was much weaker than when he was conscious. Moreover, he was now in his formation, which posed a great threat to the demon. Under such suppression, the Black Demon Patriarch couldn't display his peak strength at all. His strength was equivalent to his peak strength at most 80%. This meant that his strength was suppressed by 20%. Wah wah. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to tear you into pieces. The fiend Black Ancestor yelled in anger after his attack was dodged by Yang Hongwu. Qiantian Old Ancestor, who was watching this scene from afar, was extremely shocked. This brat's strength was truly terrifying. He was actually able to resist the Black Demon Old Ancestor, who was on the verge of turning into a demon. Moreover, the Black Demon Old Ancestor's strength was extremely terrifying. This showed how terrifying his strength was. In his opinion, he would never dare to confront the Black Demon Patriarch in such a state. He knew that he was no match for the Black Demon Patriarch. The strength of the Black Demon Patriarch, who was almost possessed by the devil, was enough to contend with the Heavenly Destruction Spider. Even so, Qiantian Old Ancestor knew that the fiend Black Ancestor had no chance of winning. Yang Hongwu was already so strong, let alone the Heavenly Destruction Spider. The Heavenly Destruction Spider's strength was terrifying. Otherwise, the fiend Black Ancestor wouldn't have run away. It's impossible to kill me. Heavenly Destruction Spider, kill him for me. Yang Hongwu snorted. At this moment, the Heavenly Destruction Spider entered the battlefield. The Heavenly Destruction Spider wasn't suppressed by the formation. It was Yang Hongwu's puppet. Not only that, it was like a fish in water. With the help of the formation, the Heavenly Destruction Spider's strength was even more terrifying. Qiantian Old Ancestor wasn't the only one who was shocked. Even Dao Monarch Darkness and Tai Tulong were shocked. This formation was truly too powerful, too terrifying. Yang Hongwu was also a terrifying array master. Not only that, Tai Tulong and the other man had also obtained some pills. This meant that Yang Hongwu was not only a powerful array master, but also an extremely respected alchemist. Moreover, Yang Hongwu's talent in fighting and cultivation was so fierce that it could be said that no one could compare to him. Could it be that he was the legendary son of the great Dao? Even the legendary Dao Lord Zhiga probably wasn't this savage when he was at this age. Under normal circumstances, if the other party had extremely high attainments in alchemy or formations, then there would be a certain gap between them and the other geniuses in terms of cultivation and combat. However, Yang Hong was different from the other geniuses in terms of alchemy or formations. Marshall did not have such a situation, which was the most terrifying thing about him. Moreover, Yang Hongwu didn't have the slightest bit of worry when he was fighting with the fiend Black Ancestor. It was as though everything was under his control. It was as though he didn't care about any accidents. A person like him was too confident. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to do this. Only under absolute strength could one be so confident. As soon as the Heavenly Destruction Spider entered the battlefield, the fiend Black Ancestor was suppressed to the point where he couldn't breathe. Firstly, it was the suppression of the formation. This was a demon extermination formation. After the fiend Black Ancestor had turned into a demon, the suppression of this formation had reached a terrifying level. Coupled with Yang Hongwu's continuous attacks, the fiend Black Ancestor couldn't defend himself at all. With the Heavenly Destruction Spider as the main attacker, the fiend Black Ancestor couldn't defend himself at all. Not long after, the evil Black Ancestor was pushed to a corner. At this time, he had consumed a lot of energy and his devil chi was gradually suppressed. Because of this, the evil Black Ancestor gradually regained his consciousness. However, after regaining his consciousness, once he regained his consciousness, the fiend Black Ancestor looked at Yang Hongwu and the terrifying Heavenly Destruction Spider with an ugly expression. Damn it! The fiend Black Ancestor looked at Yang Hongwu and the Heavenly Destruction Spider that was coming at him aggressively. He realized that he was in grave danger this time. If this continued, he would probably die here. Fiend Black Ancestor. He didn't see Qiantian ancestor, but he knew that it was because he had lost his mind after turning into a demon. Qiantian ancestor wasn't a fool. Since he knew that he wasn't a match for Fiend Black Ancestor, why would he stay here? Yang Hongwu, right? The Fiend Black Ancestor looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "Stop." "Why should I stop?" Yang Hongwu said coldly. This guy had wasted his time and caused him to expend a lot of energy. In fact, the destructive sky spider was a very powerful trump card. If he could keep it in the Black Fiend Abyss, he would have used it. If he could have kept it, it would have been a huge killing weapon. But now, after using this killing weapon, there was no other way to enter the Black Fiend Abyss. It might even cause this killing weapon to dissipate directly. After all, the heavenly destroying spider had already reached its limit. If not for that, it would have been impossible. If it only had one strand of creation chi, the heavenly destruction spider wouldn't have lasted so long. Originally, Yang Hongwu wanted to keep the heavenly destruction spider and repair the puppet talisman in the future. He could even raise it to the Tao Lord level. However, because of the Fiend Black Ancestor, he couldn't restore the heavenly destruction spider to the Tao Lord level. Even if he could restore it to the half-step Tao Lord level, it would be very difficult. Even if he could do it, he would have to pay a huge price. Therefore, how could Yang Hongwu stop now? Kill. If it wasn't for you, I might have found what I needed. You're the one who stopped me and wasted my time. Moreover, you've consumed a lot of my energy. Therefore, you must die here today. Yang Hongwu no longer concealed his killing intent. Wait. Seeing that Yang Hongwu was about to make a move, the Fiend Black Ancestor hurriedly said, "What do you need? I can help you find it. I can also compensate you for your losses." At this moment, the Fiend Black Ancestor was terrified. He was completely terrified. How could he still have the thought of killing Yang Hongwu? Although it was important for him to break through, what else could he do if he lost his life? Chapter 1970. The Planar Boat. The Black Demon Patriarch was dumbfounded when he heard this. He had encountered a fragment of the planar boat before. It was found on the body of a black dragon. However, the black dragon wasn't weak. Although he could kill the black dragon, he would have to pay a high price. Moreover, it was only a fragment of the planar boat. If it was the real planar boat, he could try to kill the black dragon and seize the fragment of the planar boat. However, the black dragon wasn't weak. However, it was only a fragment of the planar boat that the Black Demon Patriarch didn't take it to heart. However, Yang Hongwu wanted the fragment of the planar boat. What? You don't have it? If you don't have it, then you can die. Yang Hongwu's eyes flashed with killing intent. He had wasted too much time this time. If he continued, he didn't know how much more time he would waste. After all, he couldn't directly find the fragment of the planar boat after entering the Black Demon Abyss. Although I don't have the fragment of the planar boat, I know who has it, the Black Demon Patriarch said hurriedly. Who has it? Yang Hongwu asked. How can I believe you? You don't have a choice. Yang Hongwu said coldly. If he didn't have information about the fragment of the planar boat, Yang Hongwu wouldn't hesitate to kill him. Fine. The Black Fiend Patriarch was furious, but there was nothing he could do. Let me tell you something. The fragment of the planar boat is in the Black Fiend Abyss. It's in the possession of a peak sovereign realm exotic beast. That exotic beast's strength has most likely reached the half-step Tao realm. It's very difficult to kill that strange beast when it's in the monarch realm. What strange beast? Yang Hongwu asked. It's a black dragon, the Black Demon Patriarch said. I've said what I need to say. Can you release the formation now? It's meaningless. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes and turned to leave. However, the puppet talisman turned into the sky-destroying spider and released a terrifying aura. The Black Demon Patriarch's expression changed. No, you can't do that. The Black Demon Patriarch wasn't a fool. At this moment, he sensed fatal danger. However, it was already too late. He frantically tried to break the formation, but it was all in vain. At this moment, the heavenly destruction spider self-destructed. The terrifying energy instantly exploded. After a muffled sound, the entire Black Demon town started to shake. If it weren't for the special materials used to construct the Black Evil town and the many restrictions and formations set up, the entire Black Evil town would have disappeared. Even so, more than half of Black Demon Town was destroyed. As for the Black Demon Patriarch, he was killed by the explosion. A half-step Dowlord had actually died in such a humiliating manner. When Patriarch Thousand Gods saw this from afar, he couldn't help but gulp. Terrifying. His opponent's power was simply too terrifying. He was actually able to force a powerful creature like the Annihilation Spider to self-detonate. That was a half-step Dowlord. A half-step Dowlord. Even if more half-step Dowlords came, they still wouldn't be able to stop him. If he hadn't left immediately, he would have been the one dead. However, at this time, he was not in a hurry to leave. This might be an opportunity for him. The destructive heavenly spider was gone. That brat's strength was not bad, and his formation was also powerful. However, he couldn't possibly not consume anything. This was really a great opportunity. This brat had too many trump cards, and his background was definitely not simple. He must have many treasures on him. Not to mention other things, just the secret technique that allowed him to suddenly disappear was already very impressive. He could clearly feel it. That was definitely not a space talisman. After all, if it was a space talisman, there would still be traces left behind. However, Yang Hongwu's sudden disappearance left no traces behind. In this case, he must have used some kind of powerful mystic technique. If he could obtain it, his strength would increase tremendously. Imagine if you were to suddenly appear behind your opponent in the middle of a battle. How terrifying would that be if you were to suddenly appear in front of your opponent without the enemy attacking you? At the very least, in Patriarch Thousand Gods' opinion, he definitely wouldn't be able to withstand it. It was so sudden that he couldn't react in time. Unless he had a strong defense, he would be severely injured even if he didn't die. At the thought of this, Patriarch Thousand God made his move. He sneaked towards Yang Hongwu's location. In fact, Yang Hongwu had already discovered that Patriarch Thousand God was still hiding in the dark. How could it be so easy to be the fisherman? However, Yang Hongwu didn't warn Tai Tulong and the others. At this moment, Tai Tulong and the other two were still in shock. After all, a half-step Dao Lord was killed just like that. Yang Hongwu was too cruel. Generally speaking, half-step Dao Lords were able to escape in a battle even if they couldn't win. However, this time, an extremely powerful half-step Dao Lord like the Fiend Black Patriarch was beaten to death. However, the price he paid was huge. In fact, it was equivalent to using a powerful half-step Dao Lord to perish together with the Fiend Black Patriarch. Moreover, this half-step Dao Lord was able to suppress the Fiend Black Patriarch's strength. Compared to the Fiend Black Patriarch, Yang Hongwu was still at a disadvantage. Of course, Tai Tulong and the others did not know that the Heavenly Destruction Spider was merely a puppet talisman. Although it was powerful, it could only be used once. After that, it could not be used again. If that was the case, if it was really a powerful battle pet, Yang Hongwu wouldn't be so foolish to let it perish together with the Fiend Black Patriarch. That would be foolish. Unless it was a last resort, there was no need to do so. If not, there was no need to do so. Die. At this time, Qianshan Old Ancestor appeared. His target was not Yang Hongwu, but Tai Tulong and the other two beside Yang Hongwu. His goal was to kill Tai Tulong and the other two, because Tai Tulong and the other two were very strong. Although he was strong alone, he had expended too much energy and was injured. If the three of them worked together, they could still stop him. Yang Hongwu, who was only in the Sovereign Emperor realm, had an unfathomable combat strength. Chapter 1971. Not good. I've been tricked by this little degenerate. Old Master Qianshen's face changed instantly. He knew that things were going to get troublesome. After missing his attack, Old Master Qianshen prepared to retreat. However, Yang Hongwu wasn't going to let him off that easily. Old fogey, since you're here, don't think about leaving. Looking at Old Master Qianshen, Yang Hongwu's lips curled into a smile. Waving his hand, a terrifying power burst forth and sent Old Master Qianshen flying. Even though this attack didn't injure him, it was still a powerful attack. Old Master Qianshen's face changed immediately. He realized that he was being controlled and couldn't leave this place at all. Formation? Damn it! When did you set up a formation? Old Master Qianshen glared at Yang Hongwu with a death glare. The strength of a formation as such was way too creepy and horrifying. To think that he would be able to set up a formation without anyone noticing. He had been watching the entire time, and yet, he had no idea when Lin Fan had set up the formation. This was the scariest part. Against an enemy like this, anyone would have a headache. No one would want to fall into the trap of the other party's formation in the middle of a battle and be at a disadvantage. The only exception would be if they were strong enough. Furthermore, they were much stronger than the other party. Before the other party could even react, they could kill the other party. That was the scariest part of it. Therefore, no one would want to make an enemy out of someone like this. At this moment, Old Master Qianshen's heart was bitter. He had been too careless. He had thought that he would definitely be able to suppress the other party with his strength. Even if Tai Tulong and the other two were to join forces, they wouldn't be a match for him. However, the problem was that he had not expected Yang Hongwu to be able to set up a formation without him noticing. Attack! Attack together! Kill this fella! Tai Tulong yelled out. Kill! It was the same for Shanhai Guanyue and Lin Fan. The three of them bolted towards Old Master Qianshen. Damn it! You guys want to kill me? Dream on! Old Master Qianshen roared out. With a single strike, he sent Tai Tulong and the other two flying. His cultivation state was a half-step Dao Lord, and he was extremely strong. Even Tai Tulong and the other two couldn't defend against him. What power! He truly lives up to his reputation as a half-step Dao Lord. Tai Tulong's eyes were blazing with the flames of battle. If he wanted to make a breakthrough, perhaps battling against a half-step Dao Lord would give him a chance to do so. The same was true for Mountain Sea Watcher. And so, fight! 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 Tai Tulong and the other two simultaneously let out furious roars as they once more charged towards Patriarch Qianshen. The three of them were eager to do battle, but Patriarch Qianshen wasn't. Although he was a half-step Dao Lord and was much stronger than his foes, he was still far weaker than them. He didn't have the heart to fight to the death. He just wanted to escape. His main purpose was to break this sealed space and the formation. If the formation was not broken, he would be suppressed. In addition, Yang Hongwu had not made a move yet. Yang Hongwu was the one who worried him the most. He thought that although Yang Hongwu was strong, he wouldn't be so terrifying. However, Yang Hongwu hadn't made a move yet. Moreover, from the look in his eyes, it seemed like victory was already in his grasp. This made Tai Tulong extremely afraid. Could it be that this guy still had a powerful trump card? If another terrifying beast appeared, then he would be completely screwed. Although the possibility of that happening wasn't high, he still had to be careful. Although you're strong, you're still no match for me. After sending Tai Tulong and the other two flying once more, Patriarch Qianshen looked at Yang Hongwu and said, Yang Hongwu, open the formation and let me go. You're too naive. Yang Hongwu said coldly, You have a close relationship with the Black Fiend Patriarch. Since you're here, there's no need for you to leave. If you left directly, I wouldn't have wasted time looking for you. However, you're courting death. Of course, I'll fulfill your wish. If you choose to kill yourself, I'll leave you with an intact corpse and a chance for you to reincarnate. Kid, you sure talk big. Do you really think you can take me down? Patriarch Qianshan was furious. This kid dared to be so arrogant. How hateful. Do you really think you're invincible after killing the Black Fiend Patriarch? Then you're underestimating me. A half-step Dao Lord isn't someone a mere sovereign emperor like you can underestimate. You were able to kill the Black Fiend Patriarch because he was too careless. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to kill him at all. Moreover, you were able to kill him. Besides, you may have killed him, but you've exhausted a powerful beast. Now you want to kill me? Unless you have another terrifying beast, you won't be able to kill me. If you can't kill me, I'll kill you. Ferocious, ferocious. Patriarch Qianshan was furious. He was relying on his high cultivation base. Once they started fighting, he would definitely be able to last longer than his opponent. Therefore, he only needed to wait for his opponent to exhaust too much of his energy before killing him. However, he knew very well that the possibility of that happening wasn't too great. He was inside the formation. If he couldn't break the formation, he would be in great danger. Moreover, he didn't think that Yang Hongwu's formation was only defensive and could only trap him here. How could a person with such terrifying attainments in array formations only be able to set up defensive array formations? Therefore, this was absolutely unrealistic. The formation in front of him was what he was most worried about. If it wasn't, Patriarch Qianshan wouldn't be afraid. Even if he couldn't win, he could definitely escape. You want to kill me? Let's see how you're going to kill me. Yang Hongwu sneered. He waved his hand and the sky changed. It became gloomy and a terrifying aura enveloped Patriarch Qianshan. He frowned as he naturally noticed this. Moreover, what shocked him even more was that his cultivation was actually being suppressed. This also meant that he was unable to unleash his full strength right now, even though his cultivation was only being suppressed by a small portion of it. Although it was suppressed, it still worried him. At this moment, he realized that he was on the verge of death. This was the biggest threat he had ever faced in his life. Rumble! At this moment, terrifying bolts of lightning descended from the sky. These bolts of lightning were the great Tao lightning tribulations. Patriarch Qianshan was terrified when he saw this. Chapter 1972. Little bastard, you can't kill me. Qianshan Ancestor was enraged by the lightning tribulation, but there was nothing he could do. He could only roar. He couldn't do anything to Yang Hongwu. All he could do now was to resist the lightning tribulation. Is that so? Try this then. Yang Hongwu snorted coldly. The entire space turned into a huge furnace, filled with raging karmic fire. This wasn't an ordinary fire, it was the terrifying red Luan karmic fire. In addition, the devouring power of the furnace was madly devouring the power of Qianshan Ancestor. Qianshan Ancestor was already suppressed in the formation. Coupled with the attack of the thunder tribulation just now, he couldn't withstand it anymore. This time, his spiritual energy was being devoured bit by bit. His life was about to be devoured. Are you forcing me? Qianshan Ancestor sensed that he was on the verge of death. You want to self-destruct? Yang Hongwu laughed. He could see through Qianshan Ancestor's intentions. He wanted to threaten Yang Hongwu with self-destruction, but in reality, such a threat was useless against Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu could see it clearly. Because Qianshan Ancestor was a coward who feared death. Go ahead and self-destruct. I'll wait. At this moment, Yang Hongwu was not worried at all. With the devouring furnace, the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, and the suppression of the formation, Yang Hongwu had an absolute advantage. If old ancestor Qianxian wanted to self-destruct, if Qianxian ancestor wanted to self-destruct, he could give up on the formation and leave. To him, it was just a loss of a formation. To him, it wasn't too much of a loss. It was within an acceptable range. What do you want? Qianxian ancestor took a deep breath. Self-detonation was just a joke. If he wasn't in complete despair, he definitely wouldn't use self-detonation to take his opponent down with him. Unless you give me the fragment of the planar boat, or a treasure that can replace the planar boat, I have no reason to let you go, Yang Hongwu said coldly. After all, this guy was a half-step Tao Lord. He must have a lot of treasures on him. If there was a treasure that could replace the planar boat, it would be a good thing. Then, there would be no need for him to risk his life in the Black Fiend abyss. That was close. Old ancestor Qianxian felt bitter in his heart. He had treasures, but he didn't have what Yang Hongwu needed. Just like the wretched Black Patriarch, he seemed to have died the same way. I will use one supreme treasure, no, 2 supreme treasures in exchange for my freedom. Old ancestor Qianxian said. If I kill you, I can get it all the same. Yang Hongwu said coldly. At this moment, even if Qianxian ancestor self-destructed, Yang Hongwu wouldn't suffer any losses. This was because he had unknowingly devoured more than half of Qianxian ancestor's spiritual energy. Right now, Qianxian ancestor's strength was less than 10% of his peak. Damn it! By the time he regained his senses, it was already too late. You forced my hand. At this moment, Qianxian old ancestor realized that he was dead for sure. Just as he spoke, he realized that his spiritual power was disappearing too quickly. More than half of it was gone in an instant. Not only was his spiritual power gone, even his life force was gone. A lot of it was being devoured. He had never expected that things would turn out like this. Since he knew that he was going to die, he might as well drag someone down with him. At this moment, Yang Hongwu activated his soul attack. Old ancestor Qianxian ancestor felt his soul being struck by a tremendous force. Instantly, his soul dissipated. There was no way he could self-destruct. The last thought in his mind was regret. He wasn't even able to self-detonate. What a pity. Yet another half-step Tao Lord had been slain, just like that. Initially, Tai Tulong and the others thought that Patriarch Qianxian was really going to self-destruct. They were scared out of their wits. It must be known that the self-destruction of a half-step Tao Lord was extremely terrifying. If he really did self-destruct, they would probably all die here. But at the next moment, something shocking happened. Old ancestor Qianxian ancestor collapsed. That terrifying aura that he was emitting earlier on disappeared as well. He did not self-destruct. Furthermore, the life force of old ancestor Qianxian ancestor was gradually dissipating. This meant that he was dead. Just like that, he died for no reason at all. Tai Tulong and the others could not help but look at their young master, Yang Hongwu. This was way too scary. This was a half-step Tao Lord. To think that he would be killed just like that. Just how strong was their young master? How many more did he have? Trump cards? The strength that he had displayed so far was probably just the tip of the iceberg. Let's go. Yang Hongwu waved his hand and a ball of flames burned Qianxian ancestor to ashes. A storage ring flew out from his body and landed in Yang Hongwu's hand. As for Qianxian ancestor's supreme treasure, it was his weapon. It was a defensive supreme treasure, a treasure armor. This item wasn't very useful to Yang Hongwu. His physical body was already extremely strong. Furthermore, the immortal dragon body that he cultivated needed to be improved continuously. If he used this treasure armor, it would be very useful to him. Otherwise, it wouldn't be of any help to the immortal dragon body. However, this thing was best left for his women. After all, they were still too weak. Yang Hongwu couldn't let his woman stay in his world forever, could he? Although that wasn't impossible. Young master, you're mighty. Young master is amazing! Tai Tulong and the others exclaimed in admiration. At this moment, they no longer had any thoughts about Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu was too strong. He had killed a half-step Tao Lord so easily. Moreover, he had already killed 2 half-step Tao Lords. One was Qianshan Ancestor, the other was Black Fiend Patriarch. Both of them were ranked among the top in Skyspan. Moreover, if a half-step Tao Lord wanted to escape, even a Tao Lord of Heavenspan wouldn't be able to stop them. However, Yang Hongwu had done it. This was enough to show how terrifying his strength was. Formation, rise. Following Yang Hongwu's shout, the restriction that had been broken in the array formation between the Black Fiend Abyss and the Sky Span continent was once again sealed. Yang Hongwu, Tai Tulong, and the others entered Black Fiend Abyss. Chapter 1973. In exchange, Zhigu would help Yang Hongwu kill Ancestor Qianshan. In return, Yang Hongwu would help Zhigu seal the Black Fiend Abyss. In fact, with Zhigu's strength and the Black Fiend Abyss being in his inner world, it would not be difficult for him to seal it. However, the problem was that he had matters to attend to and was unable to free himself. Within the Black Fiend Abyss, there was one sealed. If such a powerful fiend was not sealed in time, the entire sky-reaching continent would be destroyed. The destruction of the sky-reaching continent wouldn't affect Zhigu greatly, but it would still cause him some trouble. Coincidentally, Yang Hongwu could seal the Black Fiend Abyss. Therefore, he made a deal with Yang Hongwu. In fact, this was the first time Yang Hongwu had spoken to such an expert. The other party's strength was too terrifying. It was like an insurmountable mountain. One should know that it was just a wisp of the other party's thought. If a mere wisp of thought was so powerful, how terrifying would his real body be? Originally, Yang Hongwu wanted to ask for more benefit. He even wanted the other party to send him back to the deity domain. However, that wisp of thought didn't give Yang Hongwu any chance. Yang Hongwu had no choice but to give up. This is the Black Fiend Abyss. The evil Qi is indeed shocking. After entering the Black Fiend Abyss, Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes as he sensed the evil Qi in the surroundings. The evil Qi was indeed terrifying. If one's cultivation hadn't reached the Emperor Realm, if a divine Emperor Realm martial artist entered the Black Fiend Abyss, he would be seeking his own death. He would be easily invaded by the evil Qi, lose his mind, and become a devil who only knew how to kill. Rumor has it that a terrifying devil is sealed in the Black Fiend Abyss. Is it true that he's called Heaven Evil Tao Lord? Yang Hongwu asked Tao Lord Darkness. After all, Tao Monarch Darkness was a Tao monarch who was sealed in the sky-reaching land. Moreover, it was very close to the Black Fiend Abyss. If Tao Monarch Darkness did not know about it, it was even more impossible for others to know about it. That's right. Within the Black Fiend Abyss, there's a terrifying existence known as Tao Lord Heaven Malevolent. Although his strength isn't as strong as Zhiga's, it's still extremely terrifying. He's more than a level stronger than me. Tao Lord Darkness said. You've seen him? Yang Hongwu was a little surprised. However, this was enough to prove that the other party was extremely strong. Of course, it was precisely because of this that Zhigu had to pay attention to him. The seal in the sky-reaching continent was extremely strong. One was Tao Lord Baleful Heaven, while the other was most likely Tao Lord Darkness. To be able to seal 2 Tao Lord level experts was already the limit of this world. If more experts were to be sealed, this world would probably collapse. Tao Monarch Darkness shook his head. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it. Be careful. This place has a strange aura. If I'm not wrong, there should be a terrifying ferocious beast here. Tao Lord Darkness said. At this moment, Anya Shenv and Pan and I had already been sent into Yang Hongwu's own inner world. He didn't let them out as it would be better for them to cultivate there. Without the 2 girls, Yang Hongwu could leave without worrying too much. No matter what danger he encountered, he could escape immediately. As for Tai Tulong and the other two, it would depend on their luck. Moreover, their strength wasn't bad. Unless they encountered an extremely terrifying danger, they should be able to survive. Be careful, Yang Hongwu reminded the three. Master, it's too quiet here, Tai Tulong said. Although this is the Black Fiend Abyss, it shouldn't be as quiet as this. There might be a powerful, ferocious beast. Shanhai Guanyue nodded. This place was indeed abnormal. What's that? Suddenly, Yi Tianxing shouted. Everyone followed Yi Tianxing's finger and couldn't help but gasp. Yang Hongwu was also shocked. It was a huge scorpion, almost the size of a small mountain. Yang Hongwu was depressed. Although he had checked it just now, he never thought that the ferocious beast would be so huge. It was like a mountain. This is the Abyssal Demon Scorpion. You guys are too lucky. Dao Lord Darkness was also shocked. Abyssal Demon Scorpion? You know this guy. Does it have a weakness? Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. The Abyssal Demon Scorpion's aura was indeed terrifying. He couldn't see any weakness on this guy. It seemed like this guy was a formidable enemy. Yes, it wasn't inferior to the Black Fiend Patriarch and the others. It was enough to show how terrifying its strength was. Weakness? There is. Dao Monarch Darkness said, the weakness of the Abyssal Magic Scorpion is the stinger on its tail. If you can cut off its stinger, its strength will drop by more than 30%. In that case, we have to deal with it. It's much easier to deal with this Abyssal Demon Scorpion. The stinger on the scorpion's tail? But it won't be easy to cut off the stinger on the scorpion's tail, right? Tai Tulong said. That's right. It's very difficult. In my opinion, we should leave this place quickly. Yi Tianxing said. He didn't want to fight such a terrifying thing. It was too terrifying and too powerful. Thus, he felt that the best thing to do was to not confront this thing and directly leave to avoid fighting it. In fact, Yang Hongwu thought so too. However, the Abyssal Demon Scorpion wouldn't give them a chance. It's impossible to leave. Once you enter the Abyssal Demon Scorpion's territory, you're its prey. It won't let you leave so easily. Dao Lord Darkness said. If you want to leave, you have to defeat this Abyssal Demon Scorpion. That's difficult. Although I can do it, I don't have that much time. Yang Hongwu didn't want to waste too much time. He wanted to find the fragment of the planar boat, which was the Black Fiend Patriarch. The Black Dragon mentioned by the Black Fiend Patriarch. However, if he could suppress or even subdue this Abyssal Demon Scorpion, he would be able to find the Black Dragon's location in the shortest time possible. Boom! At this time, a loud sound rang out. The Abyssal Demon Scorpion crawled up. Its huge body, incomparably malevolent pincers, and the scorpion tail raised high with barbed stings made people tremble with fear. Chapter 1974. Beast Trapping Great Formation, Activate. Following Yang Hongwu's shout, a formation was successfully set up. This formation was specifically targeted at exotic beasts. It was capable of trapping powerful exotic beasts. It had a huge suppressive effect on exotic beasts and vicious beasts. Let's go. After deploying the formation, Yang Hongwu said to Tai Tulong and the others, this formation won't be able to trap it for long. Yang Hongwu wasn't willing to pay a huge price to trap this Abyssal Demon Scorpion. Otherwise, he could rely on this beast trapping array to fight this Abyssal Demon Scorpion. No. At this moment, another loud sound was heard. It turned out that there was another giant beast ahead. It was also an Abyssal Demon Scorpion. Its body was incomparably huge, and its huge pincers were smashing towards the group. Damn it, why is there another one? Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly. He didn't expect that there wasn't just one Abyssal Demon Scorpion, but a pair. This was going to be troublesome. The beast-trapping great formation had been deployed, but only one of them was trapped. Moreover, the other one was crazily attacking the formation. It wouldn't take long for it to break out of the formation. Once the other abyssal demon scorpion broke out of the formation, the two abyssal demon scorpions would join forces. For Yang Hongwu and the others, they had to get rid of the abyssal demon scorpion in a very short time before they could continue to go deeper. As for killing this abyssal demon scorpion, that was simply unrealistic. Although Yang Hongwu's group had the strength to do so, doing so would consume too much energy. What if they were to continue going deeper and encounter such a powerful exotic beast again? If they encountered an abyssal demon scorpion again, they wouldn't even have the chance to escape. Tao Monarch Darkness, do you have any way to escape from here? Yang Hongwu looked at Tao Monarch Darkness and asked. At this moment, although Yang Hongwu could use the space teleportation technique to leave this place, it would consume too much energy. It wouldn't be a problem if he was alone, but it would be different if he had to bring Tai Tulong and the others. After all, the evil chi here was too terrifying, and the space was too stable. It would be difficult to travel through the void. There is. Tao Lord Darkness said, there's a way to scare that fella away. What is it? Yang Hongwu asked. Hurry up and tell me. How long do we have to wait? Release the power within your body, Tao Lord Darkness said. The power in my body? When Yang Hongwu heard this, he frowned slightly and said, You must be joking. My strength is only at the Imperial Emperor realm. How can I scare him off? Yang Hongwu didn't believe that he was strong enough to scare off two half-step Tao Lord-level abyssal scorpions just by releasing his Emperor-level aura. That would be a huge joke. No matter what kind of strange beast or living being it was, once its strength reached such a level, it would be hard for it to survive. It was not an aura that could scare them away. Only when they encountered a terrifying aura that could destroy them would they be able to retreat. Otherwise, they definitely wouldn't have retreated so easily, especially in front of what they thought to be their prey. They wouldn't be timid. Obviously, Yang Hongwu and the others were food in the eyes of the abyssal demon scorpion. As the saying goes, humans die in pursuit of wealth and birds die in pursuit of food. This was the logic behind it. Of course it's not your aura. Tao Lord Black Darkness said, there's a sealed power within your body. It's a vast, majestic power that's incomparably powerful. Why do you think I agreed to your conditions so easily? Tao Lord Darkness said, it's because there's a domineering power in your body. In front of this domineering power, even a Tao Lord level beast has to avoid it, let alone a half-step Tao Lord level abyssal scorpions. Yang Hongwu was speechless when he heard that. Yang Hongwu himself knew that there was a powerful force sealed in his body. He guessed that this was the power of his previous life. Moreover, this force had saved his life many times on the brink of death. However, at this moment, Yang Hongwu had no choice but to accept it. At this moment, Yang Hongwu didn't want to release this force. It was too dangerous. What if the memories of his previous life completely awakened and replaced his current life, or rather, his current consciousness? Would he still be himself then? This wasn't something Yang Hongwu wanted to see. If he lost himself, so what if he gained more power? It was because of this that Yang Hongwu was very resistant to unsealing that force. Otherwise, Yang Hongwu would do everything he could to unseal that force and control it. Once that force was unsealed, it would be under his control. Perhaps he could soar to the sky and reach the ruler or even the Tao Lord level. Impossible. Yang Hongwu shook his head. You don't have to think about it. Is there any other way? Tai Tulong and the others were very surprised when they heard Tao Lord Darkness's words. It turned out that Yang Hongwu had such a big secret. No wonder his strength was so terrifying. No wonder he could make Tao Lord Darkness, a Tao Lord, submit to him even though he was only an emperor. It turned out that Yang Hongwu's background was extraordinary. It was an honor to be able to become the follower of such a powerhouse. Indeed, to them, being able to become the follower of a peerless expert was a supreme honor. If that's the case, I don't have any other ideas. Tao Lord Darkness shook his head. He wanted young Hongwu to unleash that force. Once that force was unleashed, this world wouldn't be able to withstand it. At that time, he would have a chance to escape this world and escape from Zhiga's control. However, if Yang Hongwu wasn't willing to do so, there was nothing he could do. In fact, Tao Monarch Darkness was just saying that. Even if Yang Hongwu agreed, it would not be easy to activate the power in his body and undo the seal. Not to mention his current situation, even his original body would not be able to do so. Even if he was in his current state, he might not be able to do it. You should have a lot of treasures on you. As a Tao Lord, how could you not have other trump cards? Yang Hongwu said. Give me another puppet talisman to stop this abyssal demon scorpion. Tao Lord Darkness said in annoyance. Do you think puppet talismans of that level are cabbages? You think you can just get one? A teleportation talisman is fine too. I'll refine it and return it to you. Yang Hongwu said. No. My teleportation talisman can only teleport 3 people. Tao Lord Darkness said. Even if I give it to you, it's useless. There's still one person I can't teleport. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.